What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was banished and destroyed Konoha's corrupt Hokage in seconds? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Naruto was running for dear life. Why he did not know, he just knew that if he were to be caught the chances of him living past this night would be unlikely. For behind him was a mob of villagers chasing behind him. Most of the villagers were civilians, but scattered throughout the mob you could find some Chunin and Junin ninjas yelling out obscenities along with the others while chasing after the young Naruto. Huff huff, why are they chasing me? Sure, they usually glare at me or try to avoid me while whispering vile words under their breaths, but they've never tried to harm me, so why now? Though the panicking blonde. Now that they've finally chased the demon boy out of the village, most of the villagers started heading back thinking they've done a job well done with chasing him out while hoping he doesn't return. Now with most of the villagers heading back, there were only a few still chasing about him, either being some rage-induced ninja hoping to end the existence of the demon that stole their loved ones from them, or some hopeful Chunin chasing after him hoping to gain some recognition by killing the vile demon and becoming a hero to the village. Finally the kunai and shuriken start to fly, while most of them missing because of the dense foliage of trees that surround the village, but a lucky shot or two created some scratches on Naruto or impaled somewhere on his body. Gah! Why are you trying to kill me? We're both villagers of the same village, so why are you trying to kill me? Screamed out the crying young blonde from the pain of the wounds he had to endure just now. Ha! Like you can be called a villager? You're just a demon brat who should have been dealt with a long time ago. Well, now I think it's time we made up for the mistake of letting you live. Law or no law, you will die today, yelled one of the Junin from the group chasing after him. The only reason they probably haven't caught up to him is that most of them smell like alcohol, probably explaining the new turn of events for our young protagonist. All of a sudden Naruto noticed the flowing river ahead of him. Damn it, it's too wide to jump over and it's flowing too fast to try to cross, thought the fearful blonde. Ha, we've got you cornered now, demon, so give up and maybe we'll try to make this as painless as possible, commented one of the chasing ninja, while all of them either had smirks on their face or a demented grin, knowing that the end of the chase was upon them and the vile demon would be dead soon. Naruto finally reached the river and was looking on with panic with any way to cross before the group could catch up. One of the ninja then pulled a Fuma shuriken off of his back and pulled back his arm before throwing it right at Naruto. With his back turned to the group while looking for a way to escape, he did not see the spiraling weapon heading straight for his back. Thud, and with that Naruto's eyes widened at the sudden contact the shuriken had with his back before turning his head around to see it sticking out of his back. Naruto then started to collapse towards the river and finally falling into the river, being swept away from the mob of ninjas with the weapon still sticking out of his back, with his body lying limp at the mercy of the current. The group cheered. Finally the accursed demon is dead and they are now freed from having to watch the demon as he walked down the roads without a care in the world or spouting off how he would become Hokage, which to them was the worst of sins, imaging him corrupting their village with his demon self. Turning around, the group headed back to the village, hoping to bring forth the good news to the rest of the village that they would no longer have to fear for their families with the demon brat now dead and their Yondaime avenged. Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi was current facing his longtime worst enemy while sitting behind his desk inside his office, that enemy being the one every Kage must face, paperwork. Sigh, when will I ever be free from this accursed paperwork? Maybe I should go visit Naruto, that'll give me a little reprieve while allowing me to see how the young boy is doing, though the Hokage with a smile on his face. When all of a sudden the doors to his office burst open with a bang. Hiruzen was about to shout at the one who would so rudely enter his office before seeing a wide-eyed and panicking Kakashi standing in the open doorway. The anger he felt moments ago went away just as quickly as they arrived after seeing how Kakashi was acting. Kakashi was usually a calm and lazy Junin who had a habit of being late by hours, but he would never be seen panicking as he was now. Kakashi, what's the matter? Asked a concerned Hiruzen. It's Naruto, sir. Some ninja just arrived saying how they chased the demon brat outside the village and finally ridded the village of the demon, said a still panicking Kakashi. After hearing what the ninja said, he immediately confronted the said ninja, demanding answers for what they were saying. They proudly told him how they chased the demon outside of the village before cornering him at a river before one of them impaled him through the back with a Fuma shuriken before his body was swept away by the river they cornered him at. All the while one of the ninja was looking extremely proud at the mention of how the shuriken had killed the demon brat, allowing Kakashi to figure out who was responsible for the death of his sensei's son, Chidori, and with that the culprit for Naruto's death was now dead at his feet with a smoking hole where his heart should have been. Before any of the other ninja could come out of the shock that all of them fell into after seeing the hero for the demon brat's death being brutally murdered right in front of them, Kakashi was already gone, heading straight for the Hokage tower. He couldn't believe that Naruto was dead, so he decided to go see the Hokage to gather some Anbu and Junin to go search for the young blonde. To say Hiruzen was shocked was an understatement. He was at a loss of words before snapping out of it. "Anbu," said Hiruzen before a group of Anbu appeared before the god of shinobi. "Half of you follow Kakashi to where the ninja said they cornered Naruto, the other half of you bring me the ones that claimed to be the ones responsible for his death." With that all the Anbu and Kakashi vanished from his office. "Please no, please don't let Naruto be dead," were the thoughts of the Sandame as he sat back in his chair, a horror-struck look stuck on his face. He quickly wiped the look of his face as a second later the Anbu returned with the ones guilty for his surrogate's grandson's death if what they said is true. The group of ninja were about to complain at how they were being treated after saving the village from the demon brat before they all shrank back from the killing intent that was being unleashed by the aged Hokage. "Tell me exactly what happened and what made you decide to chase after and kill a citizen of this village," demanded the Hokage, with his killing intent still flooding the room, even starting to make the Anbu start to sweat even though the ki wasn't being directed at them. Well, Surus and a group of civilians were chasing after the demon bra. Before he could even finish the word his head had already been decapitated from his shoulders, with the Hokage now standing next to the headless corpse with a bloody kunai in his hand. "I believe there is still a law stating that the mention of said topic will lead to death," glared the Hokage, giving the rest of the ninjas in the room a look that said if they should even think the word demon brat they would lose their lives. "Now will someone else tell me what it is I wish to know?" stated the Hokage while reeling in some of the killing intent that he released when he decapitated the ninja a few seconds ago, allowing the ninja to regain the ability to breathe, which they had lost after the pure amount of fear they felt under all the ki the Sandame was releasing. With a deep breath another ninja started to pick up where the other left off without mentioning the taboo word. Like he was saying US, and so some civilians we were chasing AFFFF tear Naruto the EVEV, everybody but us headed back to the village. While we continued to CHCH chase him before cornering him at a river before one of us THTH threw a Fufuma shuriken at his back, which then impaled him, and SSS sent him into the RR river before he was washed away with the shuriken still SS stuck in his back. Throughout the story Hiruzen was glaring at the group of ninjas until near the end he had to control himself to near godlike levels to stop himself from ripping the heads off of every one of the ninjas before him. "Get them out." The ninja were starting to feel hopeful until he continued with what he was saying. "Send them to the prisons until tomorrow, for when they will be publicly executed for murder of a fellow Konoha citizen." With that the ninjas were dragged out of the Hokage's office by the Anbu towards the prison where they would spend their last night among the living. When everyone but the Hokage was out of the room, Kakashi reappeared in front of Hiruzen's desk. Hiruzen had a small ember of hope that he found Naruto wounded but alive to where he could be saved. But the hope flickered away after seeing Kakashi's face. "I'm sorry, but we couldn't find his body. We did find the river and a spot of blood where Naruto must have been standing when he was hit, but we couldn't find anything else," Kakashi stated with a defeated look and voice. "I see, please leave, I need to be alone," Hiruzen stated, getting an understanding nod from Kakashi, who he also wished to be alone to face the facts that Naruto was gone and most likely dead. That night Kakashi drank himself to sleep just like he did after the deaths of his team and the death of his sensei. Hiruzen, now being alone in his office, brought out a bottle of sake and a cup before filling said cup to begin to try to drink away the bottomless amount of despair he was feeling right now. With a look towards a picture of the Yondaime Hokage, Hiruzen allowed a tear to escape. Tears that had not seen the light of day in many years since he was a ninja had finally been released after seeing the picture of Naruto's father, which seemed to be looking back at him. "I'm sorry, I failed you, Minato," Hiruzen whispered before the despair engulfed him that had been building up at the news of Naruto's death. Unknown area. Naruto was sinking with water all around him with his eyes closed, going head first towards wherever the water was taking him. His body then begun to even out with his eyes starting to open only for him to continue flipping until he landed on his feet. He seemed to find himself landing on a solid surface still underwater with nothing else in sight. He started to look around only to find himself alone with darkness surrounding him. He took a step forward only for light to shine through where to tried to step on only for him to pull his foot back and set it to where it was before. The light started to widen with the darkness on the ground moving only for what he thought to be darkness appeared to be doves flying away from where they once were. Looking around he saw doves all around him rising from the ground all flying up to who knows where. When Naruto took another look around with all the doves now gone he found himself standing on a circular platform depicted of a beautiful woman with dark hair held by a red hairband while wearing a yellow, white and blue dress while holding a red apple in her hand. Surrounding the woman were the faces of 7 weird-looking men. Then words appeared in his mind. So much to do, so little time. Take your time, don't be afraid. The door is still shut. Now, step forward. Can you do it? Naruto started to walk forward as if answering the question that the words asked him. Once he reached near the middle of the platform he started to slow himself down while looking around him. Until he finally stopped in the middle of the platform still looking around. To his left a podium appeared with a black shield with a red border and 3 red circles, one big one in the middle while 2 small ones connect to the top left and right of the bigger circle. Power sleeps within you. To his right another podium appeared with a small stick with the same 3 circles connected to the stick but this time blue. If you give it form. In front of him a third and last podium appeared with a sword with a white blade, a yellow guard with a red gem in the middle with a blue hilt and on the gem were the 3 circles again but this time black. It will give you strength. Choose well. Naruto went first to the sword. When he picked it up the words again appeared in his head. The power of the warrior. Invincible courage. A sword of terrible destruction. Naruto then went over to the shield and picked it up and like with the sword the words appeared again. The power of the guardian. Kindness to aid friends. A shield to repel all. Finally he went over to the weird stick and picked it up. The words like the other 2 appeared again in his head. The power of the mystic. Inner strength. A staff of wonder and ruin. After looking at all 3 of the objects upon the podiums he headed back over to the sword and picked it up. The words again appeared. Is this the power you seek? Deciding that it was indeed the power he wanted so that he would never be filled with fear of death from being chased and instead having the power to fight back. The words appeared again as if in response to his choice. Your path is set. Now, what will you give up in exchange? Now Naruto looked at the other 2 trying to figure out which of the 2 to give up before a sad look crossed his face. He headed over to the shield and decided that as the thing he wished to give up. For why would he have need of the shield if there was nothing or no one to protect, while in the village no one wished to be close to him except a select few but besides them the rest avoided him like the plague and glared at him. He had no one for him to call precious to him except maybe the Hokage and maybe some people he would hang out with while in the village but now that he's no longer in the village there wouldn't be a way for him to protect them anyway. Once he again picked up the shield the words appeared. You give up this power? Stealing his resolve he decided that this was the power that was not meant for him and gave it up. With the shield gone he felt a part of him die off for now he truly felt alone. As if to prove him wrong the words again appeared. You've chosen the power of the warrior. You've given up the power of the guardian. Is this the form you choose? The question seemed to be as if to give him another chance to choose another path but with his resolve set he decided that this would be the path he would follow. The podiums then begun to sink back into the ground from whence they came. The floor begun to shatter and with the floor now gone he begun to fall into the black abyss beneath him. He kept falling and falling with no bottom seeming to come to end his free fall. Then suddenly behind him he spots another platform before him with a depiction of another woman this time in a pale blue and purple dress that looked almost pure white. His free fall begun to slow down before he landed safely on his feet without any harm coming to his being showing no signs of how fast he was falling moments before which surely would have ended in his death. The sword appeared in his hand with a flash of light and not a second later the words filled his head again. You've gained the power to fight. Naruto took a test swing with the sword he had chosen. After he regained himself from his swing the words reappeared. All right, you got it. Use this power to protect yourself and others. A shadow then appeared on the floor with the words still appearing in his head. There will be times you have to fight. The shadow then rose out of the ground as a small humanoid being with two antennas on its head with pure yellow eyes in a hunched-over position. Then a second shadow appeared before him next to the first one, beginning to rise out of the ground just like the first one. Keep your light burning strong. More and more of the weird monsters began to appear. Naruto then readied himself for the fight to come. The first monster closest to him leapt to attack him, but Naruto leapt and charged straight at the monster, taking a swing at the monster. Performing a combo starting off with an upward swing followed by a downward one, he knocked the monster back towards the ground. He then begun to circle around the monsters, trying to gather them into one spot while dodging their swipes from their claws. He then begun to perform horizontal swings that would hit multiple monsters from just a single swing, which allowed him to hit all the monsters that he had gathered into the spot in front of him. After performing a spinning horizontal swing that took out multiple monsters, the rest started to back up. They then sunk back into the floor and disappearing from sight. Behind him a single one of the monsters appeared as if to secretly dispatch the one it sees as its enemy. Fortunately, the words appeared again to warn him. "Behind you." Naruto proceeded to turn around to confront the monster that wished to seek harm to him from behind. Once the monster was spotted, more started to appear as if knowing that the plan had failed and wished to overcome him through numbers. Naruto then faced the one closest to him and thrust his sword out in a straight jab before following up with a vertical slash downward. Then using the momentum from the slash, he spun around, slashing the monster in a backhanded horizontal slash, dispatching the foe. He then dispatched the other foes in a similar fashion with seemingly successful results, proving that his method of fighting was working. The way he was fighting with a weapon that he had never used before would amaze anyone who would have seen him at how freely he seemed to be using the weapon, allowing the attack to flow into the follow-up attack, seemingly to never end, as if fighting like a master, be it ground or aerial combat. The monsters may have been easy to dispatch with limited number of attacks, but they were hard to catch since it seemed they could sink back into the ground and move around, making it impossible for him to hit them until they rose back from the go-round. Just as sudden as they came, they sunk back into the ground, covering the floor in darkness until every spot on the floor was nothing but darkness, which then proceeded to drag him down. He tried to struggle to free himself, but nothing seemed to work until finally he sunk straight down through the floor. Now he was entirely surrounded by darkness, which he tried to fight off, trying to free himself with no avail. Then, as if he wished it to, all the darkness faded away for him to find himself laying down on another platform, this time depicting a heart. When he finally reoriented himself, got back up on his feet to find a door on the other side of the platform with a light shining down upon the door. He headed towards the door and tried to open it, but to no avail. Then behind him another light shined down on the other side of the platform, and with a flash of light an intricately designed chest appeared. He opened the chest, but only to find it empty. With another flash of light a crate appeared in the middle of the platform. He then broke open the crate to find some type of weird green liquid in a glass. Part of the door shined and became more solid from its seemingly transparent look. In another flash off to his right a barrel appeared. Breaking the barrel like he broke the crate, the rest of the door became solid. With the door now solid, he then proceeded to open the previously inaccessible door. He then took a step back as the door started to open in front of him, only for light to start shining through the opening door. Shielding his eyes, he walked towards the light and through the door to find himself in the academy back in Konoha with 3 people in the classroom. First there was Iruka, his sensei and surrogate older brother, who always seemed to look out for him. Iruka then asked him a question: "What's most important to you?" To Naruto there seemed to be 3 answers that came to mind, being number 1, friendship, and his prized possessions. After carefully thinking over the 3 answers, he finally decided on friendship, because even though there were not many who wished to be his friend, he decided that the small amount that were his friends were most important to him. Is friendship such a big deal? Iruka questioned him. He then walked over to the second person, who happened to be his surrogate grandfather Hiruzen. Hiruzen proceeded to ask him, "What do you want out of life?" Again to Naruto 3 things came to mind: to see rare sights, to broaden his horizons, or to be strong. Again after much thought he decided upon being strong. For the same reasons he chose the sword, which seemed like ages ago, which instead happened to be just moments ago. To be strong, huh? Questioned Hiruzen. Finally Naruto went to the third person, to which his surprise was a classmate of his whose name was Hinata. What surprised him though was that unlike the other 2, which he knew very well, he had barely hung out with Hinata. Like the other two, Hinata asked him a question, "What are you afraid of?" To him, like the last 2-3 answers immediately came to mind: being different, being indecisive, and being alone. Unlike the other two though, he was immediately able to figure out which of the three he was truly afraid of without having to think about it. The one which scared him the most was being alone, to have no one to care for or have no one to care about him. To be truly alone was what he was afraid of. Being alone? Is that really so scary? Hinata questioned his response like the other two. Once he was done answering all three of the people before him, the words appeared again. You want friendship. You want to be strong. You're afraid of being alone. Your adventure begins at dawn. As long as the sun is shining, your journey should be a pleasant one. Then everything turned to light, blinding his eyes before he found himself on another platform. This time the platform had another beautiful woman in a purple dress with long blonde hair while holding a rose in both hands up to her chest. All around her she was surrounded by thorns. Naruto started to walk to the other side of the platform, until he reached the head of the woman on the platform. Behind him the monster's form before started to appear again. He pulled out his sword, preparing for combat again. Before he knew it, the monsters arose from the ground in a circle around him, making him completely surrounded. He charged at the first one in front of him, taking it out with a thrust and 2 horizontal slashes before turning around with a backhanded slash, pushing back one that was trying to sneak upon him. With the monster's guard down, he charged with an overhead chop, dispatching it like so many before it. With 2 down, he had 4 more before him to take out. He then leapt at one of the shadows before him, coming down with a powerful downward thrust strong enough to take the foe out with 1 hit. With himself crouched towards the ground, he then performed an upward thrust on the one beside him, knocking it up towards the air, where he soon followed it, performing a quick slash, dispatching it before nimbly landing on his feet, his eyes already focused on his next enemy. He then performed 2 powerful slashes horizontally, the first one knocking their guard away by countering the swipes they tried to perform on him before following up with a second one, taking them both out with a single swipe now that their guard was gone. Once all the monsters were defeated, a ray of light shined down, creating a small circle of light upon the platform. He walked over to the circle of light until he was standing directly on top of it, and now that he was close enough to see, he saw that the light was in fact a pale green color. The circle of light under him started to move to the other side of the platform, where smaller square multicolored platforms appear, looking as if they were made out of glass. Platform after platform appeared at a fast rate, creating a path for him that led to what seemed to be another platform like the one he was standing upon. He then walked upon the seemingly fragile path until he reached the other platform. Once he reached the platform, he saw that this platform, like the others, depicted a beautiful woman in a pure yellow dress. While walking forward, the words again appeared in his head. The closer you get to the light, the greater your shadow becomes. Turning his head, he saw his own shadow extended behind him. His shadow then, like the monsters from before, began to rise from the floor. Shocked, he took a step back from his shadow, which continues to rise from the ground, growing bigger and bigger. But don't be afraid. The shadow started to take on a monstrous form, looked nothing like him now, and it took a step as its body became more defined. And don't forget, its face, now fully developed, was pitch black with yellow eyes with long hair like tentacles moving all around its head, while the lower part of its mouth was covered by what seemed to be a scarf as black as the rest of its body. Naruto then began to run away from the abomination, only to come to a stop at the far edge of the platform, almost falling off, only to see a pitch black abyss that seemed to never end. Turning around, he sees the monster rising from a hunched over position, rising until it was standing straight and tall. Its upper body had a large hole which looked to be shaped as a heart. On its back were 2 small like wings made out of the same black inky substance as the rest of its body. Readying his sword, he prepared for a fight that would be unlike the rest from the look of things. He first charged at the monster, then jumped up and performed an overhead slash at the monster's left hand, doing seemingly no damage. Trying to follow up with an upward swipe, the monster moves its hand out of the way while charging up a dark ball in its right hand before pulling his right arm back, then proceeded to smash it into the ground. Where his hand hit the ground started to become dark and an inky black color. Taking the moment that the monster's hand was in reach, he charged the monster's right hand and performed a downward slash, followed up by a straight thrust, which was finished by a spinning backhanded slash. Once he finished up the 3-hit combo, the smaller monsters started to appear again from the black hole that the giant created. Naruto then started to perform wide horizontal slashes so he could hit both the giants and while destroying the smaller monsters. Once the smaller ones were all gone, he started to completely focus upon the giant's hand again. The monster then stood back up while more of the smaller monsters seemed to fall from the sky. Naruto then started to dispatch the smaller ones while the giant seemed to be out of reach for him to do any damage. The monster then knelt down, allowing Naruto access to the monster's hands again, but it seemed from the heart-shaped hole an orb of darkness appeared which then proceeded to shoot out phantasm-like beings that would then ram into Naruto while he was attacking the monster. It seemed though that all the damage that Naruto was dealing out to the monster was adding up though, as the monster seemed like it was about to be defeated. Like as if he had foreseen the future, the damage had finally been too much for the monster. So in a last-ditch effort the monster tried to take a swipe at Naruto, which he successfully dodged but not without losing his balance. Falling on his backside, Naruto could only watch as his sword disappeared and the monster was standing before him in all its might, about to deliver what seemed to be the end. Underneath Naruto a small circle of darkness appeared beneath him without him noticing, and the words appeared yet again. "But don't be afraid." The darkness started to rise up and engulf him while the words continued on. "You hold the mightiest weapon of all." Naruto tried to fight the darkness, but like before it seemed to have no effect as it continued to engulf him, all the while the giant just watched. And finally his whole body was engulfed in the darkness as he lost consciousness. Location unknown. When Naruto first found himself on the first platform. Next to Naruto's body, which had been washed up back on land with the Fuma shuriken still sticking out of his body, a portal of darkness appeared, and out of the portal a man whose entire body was covered by a black cloak stepped out. Organization 13 cloak. I wonder what world this is. It surely isn't one I've been to before, the man stated to himself while looking around trying to figure out where he has ended up at. He then heard a moan of what sounded to be of a person in pain coming from below him. Looking down, his eyes widened at what he saw, for below him was a young-looking boy with blonde hair in an orange jumpsuit laying face down on the dirt, completely drenched, with a giant shuriken sticking out of his back. The man quickly knelt down to see if he could help the kid at all, but while kneeling down he felt a presence of a keyblade bearer near him. Looking around him he tried to catch sight of anyone near, but after failing to see anyone he looked back down at the boy. "It can't be, can it?" the man mumbled to himself. He placed a hand on the boy's back with using his other hand to grab the giant shuriken, and with one quick jerk and pulled it right out of the boy's back. Checking for a pulse, he concluded that the boy was indeed still alive in what seemed to be a fatal blow. He flipped the boy over while pulling his hood off to get a better look at the boy. The person under the hood had long messy silver hair with a black blinder covering his eyes. Quickly pulling the blinder up for a fraction of a second to get a look at the boy, he then pulled the blinder back over his eyes while standing back up with the boy in his arms. "Well, it seems like wherever I seems like I was meant to be here if the boy has a keyblade," he stated before walking off to the nearest settlement. What he didn't notice though was that the whiskered boy's back started to heal. Naruto groggily opened his eyes, trying to blink away sleep from his eyes. Looking around he found himself in a small room with himself lying on a bed. Pulling the sheets off he found himself shirtless with a bandage wrapped around his midsection. With the sight of the bandages, the memories from before he fell unconscious entered his mind. Eyes widening in fear, he looked around for any signs of danger or ninjas that have come to try to hurt him again. Seeing no signs of danger, he allows himself to relax before turning his thoughts onto the weird dream he had. Was it even a dream? It felt so real, and I could have sworn I felt pain when getting hit by those monster-looking things. I mean, where would I even be able to imagine all that stuff from? He thought, checking his body for any bruises in places he was hit during the dream, only to find no signs of any bruises. Either it really was a dream or I've been out of it long enough for the bruises to heal, he concluded after seeing the lack of bruises. He then swung his legs over the edge of the bed and started to try to stand up, emphasis on the try as his legs were wobbly, making it hard for him to keep his balance. After a few seconds of trying to fight over control for his seemingly useless legs, which he ended up losing as he fell backwards back onto the bed. Sigh. Well, I guess I just gotta either wait for my legs to regain feeling or hope somebody comes to check on me, he mumbled to himself, trying to figure out what to do. After a few minutes of waiting, the door to the room started to open, and though the door came a person entirely covered in a black cloak. "Ah, I see you're awake. Tell me, how do you feel?" the man questioned. After a few seconds to which Naruto decided the man wasn't hostile, he then answered, "I feel fine except I can't really seem to stand at the moment." The man nodded in understanding. "I'm surprised you're awake, let alone able to move as you can now after seeing a giant shuriken sticking out of your back, to which should have been fatal," then cloaked figure commented. Rubbing the back of his neck, Naruto started to explain, "Well, I've always been a fast healer, so that probably explains why I'm healthy like I am now." The man seemed to be interested in the boy's seemingly incredible healing capabilities but decided to set it off to the side for the moment to ask an even more important question. "So, how exactly did you come to have a giant shuriken sticking out of your back?" Naruto seemed to be hesitant on answering the question, which the stranger seemed to pick up on when he commented, "You don't have to tell me, but it would be helpful to know why I ended up saving a boy from what seemed to be attempted murder." Naruto's head shot up at the mention of the man being his savior. With a sigh, he prepared himself to explain what had led him into his current predicament. "I was running from some shinobi from my village who then cornered me near a river. One of the ninjas from the group then threw and impaled me with the Fuma shuriken, and with both the momentum of the throw and my loss of feeling in my body, I collapsed forward to be swept away by the river." The man seemed to think over what the boy had told him, which also seemed to explain why the boy was near a river while completely drenched. With a nod, he then moved on to the next topic of interest. "Tell me, do you know what a keyblade is?" The only answer he got though was a confused look, which was enough to tell the man that the boy had never even heard of the word, much less know what it is. I'm sure I feel the presence of a keyblade radiating from him, but it seems he has yet to summon it," the stranger thought. "What's your name?" he questioned after figuring out he still didn't know the boy's name. "Hey, isn't it polite to give your own name before asking for someone else's, and besides, what's with the hood? I can't even see your face," Naruto commented in return. With a smirk, the man then proceeded to lower his hood, allowing the boy to see his face. "Riku." All he got in return was a confused glance. "My name," was his only answer to the boy. It seemed the boy finally understood what he meant, if the look of understanding was anything to go by. "Naruto," the boy smirked back. "My name," the boy responded back as if taking a jab at how Riku presented his own name. "Can you stand yet?" Riku asked the boy. "Gimme a sec, let me try again," was his answer when he again tried to stand again, this time having more success than the last try. Finally on his feet with a few mishaps, he grinned at Riku, allowing him to see a bit of his personality, as in his stubborn personality. With a nod, Riku turned around. "Follow me," was the only thing he said before walking out of the room. Naruto, not wanting to be left behind, exited the room to follow after Riku. After following Riku out of the house and into the yard in front of the seemingly abandoned house, Riku then turned around to again face Naruto. "I asked you before if you knew what a keyblade was, though from your expression I could conclude that you don't, so I will now tell you." Not that I'm complaining, but why do I have to know what a keyblade is?" Naruto questioned in confusion at the still unfamiliar word. "The reason you need to know what a keyblade is because I can sense the presence of a keyblade radiating from you," was Riku's reply, earning himself a shocked look from Naruto. "Wait, how do I have this keyblade thing if I don't even know what it is?" he asked him with the look of shock still on his face after learning that he may have acquired something he didn't even know about. "The keyblade isn't really something you just pick up off the ground," Riku commented to the boy's question. "No, the keyblade is a power that is awakened in a select few. Currently I know of 2 people besides myself who can wield the keyblade." Riku's thoughts strayed to the image of his friend Sora and the King Mickey. But then another person came to mind, the boy named Roxas, but he decided not to include him because the boy was basically able to use his power because he was Sora's nobody. A power that's awakened, what does he mean by that? Though Naruto before his dream from before came to mind. Could that have anything to do with the keyblade Riku kept mentioning? "Hey Riku, how does a person go about awakening their keyblade?" Naruto questioned, trying to see if he indeed did awaken to some mysterious power from the realistic dream he had. Well, most people awaken the power of the keyblade when they are presented with a difficult journey presented before them. Riku answered, trying to gather his thoughts to figure out how to explain this to him. "Does a dream have anything to do with awakening the keyblade?" Naruto hesitantly asked, hoping not to make a fool of himself. Riku's head then snapped, facing Naruto while looking him in the eyes to see if he was really telling the truth. Seeing no hints of him lying, he then answered, "Yes. Sometimes the power can be awakened in what seems to be a dream where the keyblade wielder must make choices that could greatly affect the wielder." "Hey, sounds like the dream I had, choices and all," Naruto muttered, now learning the truth of the dream. So I guess I really do have a Keyblade, but how do I use it? He questioned after coming to terms with him now wielding some mysterious power. Riku tried to think it over on how to summon the Keyblade, because now to him it's become second nature to the point he doesn't really even have to think about it. I guess you could try thinking about something important to you and wanting the power to protect that which is important to you, then focus all those thoughts and emotions and try to summon the strength that will allow you to achieve it. Naruto then closed his eyes and thoughts of what was truly precious to him. Then several faces appeared, including Hokage Jiji, Teuchi, Ayame, and Iruka. Now with those people in his thoughts, he tried to bring up a feeling of wanting to protect them which flared as if waiting for him to call upon it. Now trying to bring forth the strength to protect them, he focuses the power and strength he feels into his hand, and with a flash of light he was holding what seemed to be a giant key. The Keyblade that was summoned shocked Riku and quickly caught his interest. The Kingdom Key, the same one used by the king and also the first Keyblade Sora acquired. This boy indeed does have a challenging destiny ahead of him, although that seems to come with the territory of being a Keyblade bearer. Naruto was looking at the weapon he had summoned with a funny look before a look of understanding crossed his face. No wonder it's called a Keyblade, the thing's a giant freaking key. The Kingdom Key, huh? Riku commented out loud, catching Naruto's attention. Kingdom Key? I thought it was called the Keyblade. Unless, does he mean there's different types of Keyblades? Naruto then decided to voice the question that crossed his mind. When you say Kingdom Key, do you mean there are other types of Keyblades? Riku was shocked at how the boy came to that outcome, even though it's correct with him just saying one thing. Yes, there are different types of Keyblades and some people can actually wield several different types. He commented before seeing a look of wonder cross the young blonde's face. You see that chain attached to the bottom of the Keyblade? And indeed did see a chain attached to the Keyblade, with the end being the 3 circles he saw in his dream, further fortifying the theory that the dream was his awakening. If you acquire more chains, you can swap them out to use different Keyblades, each one with different abilities. For instance, the Kingdom Key has an ability called Defender, meaning that whenever the wielder is stuck in pinch, your defense will rise and you will end up taking less damage. There are also some people who can wield multiple Keyblades at once, but the only person I know who can do it needs some outside assistance to do so. Riku stated, further enthralling Naruto into what is known as the Keyblade. Once Riku finished explaining, he then reached his hand out before him, then with a flash of light his own Keyblade appeared. Well, now that that's out of the way, let's see if you can use that thing and what other abilities you have, Riku stated before getting in a ready stance. Naruto soon followed him in his own ready stance that greatly shocked Riku. That stance is the same as Sora's. With both of them smirking, they charged at each other, Keyblades at the ready. Time skip 1 year. Outside Konoha, a figure dressed in a black cloak just like Riku's was standing a little ways away from Konoha while staring at the hidden village, with memories of the village coming to the surface of his mind. Konoha, it's been a while, hey, exactly a year in fact. Then a portal of darkness appeared before the cloaked figure. Well, I guess it's time I go see how Gigi's doing. Oh, and Iruka too. Hey, can't wait to get to Ichiraku's. I haven't been able to find anything nearly as good. And with that, the figure stepped into the portal, with the portal disappearing once he was through. Hokage's office. Hiruzen was sitting in his chair with a bottle of sake next to him, drinking away the pain of what this day brought to the front of his mind, for today was the day his surrogate grandson had lost his life. Damn it, Naruto, why'd you have to die? You have done nothing to deserve what you've been through, nor did you deserve the death you received. On the day of Naruto's death, Sarutobi had the ones responsible sent to Ibiki and Anko to get the information out of them of who the others were that helped chase Naruto out of the village. Right when he was so close to exacting the justice that Naruto deserved, the damned civilian council stepped in and made it impossible for him to find out the truth. Right when he was reaching for his cup, darkness rose from the floor, creating what looked like some type of portal. The Hokage was beyond shocked, for he, the one known as the Professor, had never even heard nor seen of any jutsu that could accomplish such a feat. But he suddenly became on guard when a person stepped through the portal, with the portal closing behind them and disappearing. The person was covered in a pitch-black cloak that made it impossible for anything else to be seen, making it impossible to identify the figure. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" demanded the Hokage, wondering if he was under attack from some type of assassin. "Ah, come on, Gigi, lighten up some," chuckled the figure. Hiruzen froze the moment those words were said, but more in particular one word affected him the most. Gigi, only 2 people have ever called me that, and I know for a fact this isn't Konohamaru. That only leaves one other person, but Ichi's dead, but then again his body was never found. See, could it be NN Naruto? Questioned the old man with hope flaring inside of him, just hoping that this person could be him. Hide Gigi, it's been a while, the figure said while he pulled off his hood. What Hiruzen saw was a face he thought he would never see again, for before him was a kid with long spiky blonde hair. His hair is the same as Riku's from Kingdom Hearts 2, just blonde, with 3 whisker marks on each cheek. But he did not see the ocean blue eyes that he knew so well, for covering Naruto's eyes was a black blinder, again same blinder Riku has in Kingdom Hearts 2. In a split second Hiruzen was up from his desk and hugging his surrogate grandson, who he thought was long dead by now. Naruto was not surprised at the sudden contact, instead he just hugged him back while having a small smile on his face, for after a long year he was finally home. Time skip 5 minutes later. Once Hiruzen got most of his emotions back under control, he was now sitting behind his desk, not taking his eyes off of Naruto, as if he were to look away for even a second he would disappear. Naruto, how are you alive? The Hokage could only ask for. Standing before him was someone who was stated dead a year ago. Well, a year ago when I was impaled in the back. Hiruzen winced at the mention of what happened a year ago, and was swept up by the river. I was brought back ashore and found by a man named Riku. He then brought me to a place to recover while I was healing from the stab wound. Once I was finally healed, he asked me how I came to even have the wound, so after telling him what happened he offered to train me. Hiruzen could only raise an eyebrow at how this man named Riku trained Naruto. I wonder what Naruto was taught, he could only wonder. For the next 8 months Riku trained me until he had to leave. Then for the next 4 months I spent mastering my skills that I was taught while wandering the Fire Country, Naruto explained. Hiruzen could only nod at the information that Naruto supplied him, but then Naruto asked him a question that he should have actually seen coming. So Gigi, can I go back to the academy to become a ninja again? Hiruzen had to think what to do, for in a week the genin exams would be upon the class that Naruto was original part of. He could either allow Naruto to take the genin exam or hold him back a year so he could make up for the lost time. He decided to ask Naruto if he thought he was ready to try such a task. Naruto, in the class you were previously attending they are about to take the genin exams, so here are the choices I present to you. You could either take the genin exams if you think you are ready, or be held back a year to make up for the lost time. I believe this mainly focuses though on whether you think the training this Riku person you mentioned has prepared you enough to attend the exam. Naruto was ecstatic at the mention of him being able to take the genin exams, because quite frankly he far surpassed the academy level at his current level of power. At his current level he could pass all the exams with probably top records without even trying. I'll try my hand at the genin exams, Gigi, was the obvious answer from Naruto, who would have probably taken the exam even if he wasn't at his current level. Though he could pass the exams with flying color at the moment, he wanted to try to stay out of the center of attention and try to keep how strong he is a secret for as long as possible, for who knows how people could react if they learned of how strong he currently was. Hiruzen smiled at the young blonde's answer, then grabbed a piece of paper before writing something down. Finished with whatever he was doing, he then folded it up and handed it over to Naruto. I think it's about time you go say hi to Iruka. I'm sure he will be beyond happy at knowing that you're still alive. While you see him, give him that note. It's basically a permission note to allow you to attend the genin exams even though you've been gone. With a nod from Naruto, who looked happy at the thought of visiting his surrogate older brother, Naruto pulled his hood back over his face before asking Hiruzen a question. Is it alright for me to just walk down the roads? I'm pretty sure many people will think they've seen a ghost. Hiruzen gained a thoughtful look, trying to figure a way out of this predicament before he remembered how Naruto first arrived. Hey Naruto, do you think you can get to Iruka though the same way you got here, which by the way you will have to explain to me sometime? With a sheepish look, Naruto then summoned forth another portal of darkness before walking thought it all, the while the Hokage watched on in stunned silence. I seriously can't wait for when he explains to me how the hell he did that, he thought before turning his mind towards other matters like the announcement of Naruto's return. Hiruzen then called in his secretary. Once she was in, he ordered her to set a council meeting up including both the shinobi and civilian side. Although he wished he could leave the civilian side out of it, he knew that Naruto was still a civilian and not yet a ninja. Ninja Academy, after class. Iruka was currently sitting behind his desk either grading or filling out paperwork that was related to his class. In fact, though, he was actually doing more work than was necessary and could have left a while ago, but for now he was trying to drown himself in work to keep his mind from wondering to what happened a year ago. Iruka finished the paper he was currently filling out and put his pen down. Damn it, I would give anything just for one of his pranks, at least then he would still be around. About to work on the next sheet of paper, he was instead in for a shock as a portal of darkness rose from the ground in front of his desk, leaving him wide-eyed with a surprised look on his face. Out of the portal stepped a figure clothed in a black cloak that covered him from head to toe, showing no skin at all, not even the face, which was currently covered by a hood. "Hey Iruka-sensei, long time no see," the figure said to him, further shocking him on how he was addressed. "I am sorry, but are you one of my students?" questioned the teacher, completely confused. If only he could see the person's face, then maybe he could figure out what's going on. "Hee, hope you haven't forgotten me. I mean, it's only been a year. Maybe I gotta give you some incentive to remember me by," chuckled the figure, making an all too familiar shiver run down his spine that he would only get after hearing the exploits of the master prankster of his class. Before his eyes, the figure pulled his hood back for Iruka to see the same boy who always slept through his class or played pranks around the village, only for him to chase after him. Naruto, no, it can't be. I must have worked harder than I thought and now I'm hallucinating, he tried to reason to himself, coming up with no other reason at seeing the supposedly dead blonde before his eyes. "Hee, sorry sensei, but me and my pranks aren't that easy to get rid of. Speaking of which, I gotta make up for lost time," the blonde finished with a menacing cackle, seemingly planning out many pranks to make up to lost time. "Naruto, how are you alive?" Iruka said, but only came out as a whisper, still trying to regain his senses and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Naruto then told Iruka the same thing he told Hiruzen about being saved and trained. "So why did you end up separating with that Riku person?" Iruka questioned, wondering why Naruto's savior had to leave all of a sudden. "Well, Riku had some unfinished business, I guess you could say, that he had been putting off for far too long," Naruto responded to his question. "I'm pretty sure he said he had a friend who would soon need his help." Flashback: Riku's departure. "Well Naruto, I've taught you all I could teach you for the time being. Whatever you may learn is something you will have to learn through experience," Riku told Naruto. It had been 8 months since Riku had found Naruto and had begun his training with the Keyblade and several other things such as magic and basic knowledge of the Keyblade. "As you know, I'm not from this world but actually traveling from world to world," Riku said. Like he said, he had already explained that he was actually from a world called Destiny Island and long been traveling from world to world. "So now that I'm leaving, what will you do, Naruto?" he questioned, truly wondering what his student will do after his departure. "Well, for the moment I plan to travel and get some of that experience you said I'll need, then after some time of traveling I might head back to Konoha," was his response, getting a surprised reaction from Naruto's wanting to return to Konoha. "Even though a lot of the people seem to hate me there, even enough to try to kill me, there are still some people there who are important to me even now." Riku was extremely happy with Naruto's response. One of the main reasons was that hate for his village and what they had done to him hadn't controlled his life or his choices, and he still held on to what was precious to him. "Hee, well, that'll be one day of a homecoming," Riku said, already trying to imagine how the people of the village would react to the boy. No, wait, he could no longer be called a boy after all he's been through and the training and maturing he has gone through the past 8 months. He couldn't wait for them to react to this young man's newfound powers and abilities. "Hee, well, here Naruto as a parting gift." Riku then proceeded to hand Naruto a charm. "This allows you to summon a special kind of ally to fight alongside you in your time of need, or some other charms like this one can be used as a mode of transportation. The being that this charm summons is 2 eidolons named the Shiva sisters." Naruto took the charm from Riku's outstretched hand and looked at it with wonder. "To summon them, all you have to do is charge the charm with power and call upon them to aid you and they will appear." Riku explained to him how to use the strange charm. "Goodbye Naruto and good luck with your traveling." "Hee, same to you Riku-sensei," Naruto responded. With their goodbyes done, Riku then disappeared through a portal of darkness, leaving Naruto alone. Let's see how this works," Naruto mumbled to himself, looking at the charm. Following Riku's instructions, Naruto started to pump the charm with power, and with a cry of "Shiva!" a giant orb of water surrounded by strange markings appeared in front of him, and inside the orb were 2 metallic-looking women floating around a smaller orb. The 2 sisters burst out of the orb with the orb disappearing and proceeded to stand next to him. "Wow, gotta say that was awesome," Naruto said, looking like a child on Christmas morning. All of a sudden a small portal of darkness appeared next to Naruto. Once the portal disappeared, all that was left was a letter with something holding it down. Picking up the object and the letter, he then proceeded to read the letter. Dear Naruto. Sorry, I almost forgot to give this to you. This here is another summoning charm, but unlike the one I gave you, this charm summons a being of unimaginable power. Only use this as a last resort when no other option is available. Even then use it with extreme caution, for the being that is summoned may be too much for you to control. Sincerely, Riku. Naruto decided to have a better look at the charm that is supposed to summon forth something of immense power. Carefully he put the charm in one of his many pouches alongside the charm of the Shiva sisters. Well, I'll have to be careful if I ever use that, he mumbled to himself before turning his attention to the two sisters beside him with a sweat drop. Now, how the heck is this supposed to be used as a mode of transportation? As if to answer him, the two sisters moved in front of him, combining together to form a motorcycle. Well, now that explains that. Now to test this out, he mumbled again to himself with stars in his eyes. Getting on, he then revved up the motorcycle before shooting off into the distance in unimaginable speeds he thought impossible with his destination unknown. End flashback. He still hasn't found himself in any situations where he needed to use the dangerous summon, but uses the Shiva sisters in the motorcycle form any chance he can as a form of fast and extremely fun mode of transportation. Although he has fought with them by his side many times just to gain experience in teamwork with the two when fighting. Oh yeah, Iruka-sensei. Gigi told me to give this to you, Naruto said while handing him the folded up letter. Iruka's eyebrow shot up at seeing what the letter contained. Naruto, are you sure you want to try for the genin exams? I mean, you've been gone for a year. Hee, don't worry sensei, I've been training for most of the time I've been gone. I'm pretty sure I can handle the genin exams. Naruto chucked at his sensei's worry. Alright, if you're sure, though please do attend the classes for the week before the exam, anything can help. Iruka cautioned him while getting a nod from Naruto. Alright, see y'all later sensei, I have some other people I need to go see that I haven't seen in a while, Naruto said cheerfully before disappearing in another portal of darkness. Damn it, I never got him to explain me what that is. Iruka cursed to himself at his forgetfulness. Memorial Stone. Kakashi was currently looking down upon the memorial stone which he would usually spend his time at since the death of his team and sensei explaining his chronic lateness. With the death of Naruto, it seemed as if his habit had not lessened at all but increased, with him spending more and more of his time at the stone, but now his attention always seemed to be on the name of his sensei. Sensei, I know I've already said this many times, but I failed you, Kakashi stated as if talking to his deceased sensei. I couldn't protect him, I just can't protect anyone, and now the damn civilian council and the two elders wants me to be a Junin sensei to the Uchiha. To Kakashi this was the worst choice they could have made. To him, he could never succeed in protecting anyone, not his team, not his sensei, and not even his sensei's son. Behind Kakashi a portal of darkness appeared and out stepped a figure completely clothed in a black cloak. It wasn't your fault, you know. Kakashi was caught completely surprised by the unknown man. With his focus completely on the memorial stone, his guard was completely down. The shock though quickly turned to anger once his mind registered what the person had said. Though, what would you know, I couldn't do anything to save them and now all of them are dead, he said with the last part barely hearable as if to say to himself. Just because they couldn't be saved doesn't make it your fault someone died, it just means all you have to do is make sure you save everyone else who is important to you so you don't have to face any more people you care about dying, the man said. But how can I save anyone? I've already failed before, what makes you think I'll succeed the next time someone's life is in danger? Kakashi demanded of the man, hoping the man actually has the answer. You get stronger, that's all you can do. Get stronger so no matter the situation you will be able to overcome it while saving all the people you care about, the man shared to Kakashi. Hey, get stronger huh? Yeah, I guess that'll work, if only I was stronger before though. If only was stronger, then maybe I could have saved everyone, my team, my sensei, even Naruto. The past is the past, no matter how much you wish or desire the past will never change, the man stated. Kakashi knew this to be true, because no matter how much he hoped, those he cared for were still dead, but if it helps, I can show you something that may decrease the pain you feel, and with that the man removes his hood and shows his face like he did to the Hokage and Iruka. Long time no see Kakashi. Again Kakashi was shocked that he couldn't even find his voice anymore, for before him was one of the people he cared for who he thought was dead. The same blonde hair and whisker marks, but no longer could he see the blue eyes of his sensei's student, which were now covered by a black blinder, like how he uses his headband to cover his right eye. Finally his voice returned to him. Naruto, he said before he pulled his headband off of his eye to truly see him with his Sharingan, fearful that this may just be some kind of sick prank through the use of henge or genjutsu. Naruto cocked an eyebrow at his Kakushi's action, not because of the Sharingan, for he had already known about it along with his past, for the man had told him the story himself. Kakashi was one of the few people that actually cared for the boy and would stop by sometimes to see how he was doing, along with taking him out for ramen sometimes. Again, it was not the Sharingan itself that surprised him, it was how he revealed his Sharingan to him, but then understanding crossed his face. He decided to interrupt what he knew was coming though. I know what you may be thinking, the genjutsu isn't to hide my identity though, he revealed to Kakashi, who indeed did see a genjutsu surrounding the boy. Then explain to me, why do you have a genjutsu on you? But he didn't know it was Naruto, for the person in front of him had the same chakra signature as the boy. It's actually the same genjutsu that one of the Sannin uses on herself, if that helps you. Naruto responded, waiting for Kakashi to come up with a conclusion. Genjutsu one of the Sannin uses? What does he mean by that? Okay, think Kakashi, he said. So that immediately cancels out both Jiraiya and Orochimaru, so that leaves Tsunade. Now genjutsu that Tsunade uses, but that could only mean, why would he have to hide his age? Wait, before that he already looks the age he should be, something doesn't make sense. Naruto, why do you need to use Tsunade-sama's genjutsu? You look like you're 12, which you are. Well, maybe a little on the short side, but you still look 12. Kakashi questioned, which Naruto already expected, although a little annoyed on the short side comment. Here, gimme a sec, lemme remove the genjutsu. And with that, Naruto removed the genjutsu, now looking to be around 15 to 16 years old. Kakashi was speechless, for someone who should have been 12 now stood before him looking to be about 15, maybe 16 years old. Naruto, what happened to you? Why do you look like that? Naruto then proceeded to tell Kakashi the same thing that he told both Iruka and the Hokage, that still doesn't explain why I look 16 years old. Well, it's actually a side effect of a jutsu I was taught. When used, it matures the body at a faster rate until the body is basically at the top of its performance, so once I reach about 21 years old my body should stop aging due to the jutsu. Naruto responded to Kakashi's question. While Kakashi was thinking of any jutsu that he knows or has heard about that had such a side effect. Damn, I've never even heard of such a jutsu, and I've copied about 1,000 jutsus, were Kakashi's thoughts. Finally though, it crossed his mind that this indeed was Naruto. Although he looked older than he should have been, but it was still Naruto and he was alive. Kakashi then turned his head back to the memorial stone and looked at his sensei's name. Then he thought back to what Naruto said before he revealed his identity. Get stronger, huh? Yeah, I guess I'll do just that, and this time I'll let no one else die. Kakashi thought to himself, with his resolve now steeled. Oh, by the way Kakashi, I'm going to take the genin test in a week, Naruto cheerfully said to Kakashi, happy that he will soon be a ninja just like Kakashi. Wait, did he just say he will take the genin test in a week? Crossed Kakashi's mind. I'm pretty sure that arrogant Uchiha's taking the genin test in a week. Maybe I can try to persuade the Hokage to get Naruto appointed to my team if he passes. Well, I gotta go Kakashi, I still need to go get some sleep, Naruto said. Kakashi then looked around him, surprised at how long he's been out standing before the stone and talking with Naruto, seeing as it was already pitch black outside. Alright, go get some sleep Naruto, I've gotta go see the Hokage anyway. With that, Naruto started to walk back to where his apartment is. Wow, it's been a year since I've been back to that place. I bet the place is a mess. With Naruto gone, Kakashi soon shunshined to the Hokage's office. Academy classroom. Okay class, today we have a new, well, more like a returning student joining us for the rest of the week, who will also be part of the up-and-coming genin exam, Iruka said to the rest of the class. Iruka-sensei, what do you mean returning student? One of the students asked. Well, this person hasn't been to class for a year, but instead of retaking the year he missed, he will instead be rejoining this class and has permission to take the genin exam, was Iruka's answer. Alright, you can come in now. Through the door of the class, a person dressed in a blue short-sleeve shirt under a black short-sleeve jacket with black baggy pants with yellow straps wrapped around the legs and waist came through the door. Sora's outfit from Kingdom Hearts 2. Though what greatly shocked many of the students were not his clothes, but the person wearing the clothes. This person had an all too familiar blonde hair and whisker marks on both sides of his cheek, the names Naruto Uzumaki, Datbeo. On his face was an all too familiar grin, and on everybody else's face was a slack-jawed and stunned face. To some people the death of the blonde didn't affect them at all. These people were usually the ones who would think badly of him because of how their parents would act towards him. Then there were some like Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba, who were saddened by the death of their friend. For some like Ino it was a reality check, someone who was always around just suddenly died, making her truly understand how easy it is to lose one's life. She started to truly think of how she has been acting and winces every time she thinks of how she treated the blonde. Then when her thoughts turned to how she's been fangirling to a certain Uchiha, she would again wince. When she truly thought of it, she had to wonder why she even liked the guy. To her he seemed like a total jerk now. To others like Shino, who may have not known his classmate that well, felt a little saddened for Naruto, would always go out of his way to greet him even though most people ignore him because of his quietness. Then there was Hinata. Hinata was truly crushed at the revelation of the blonde's death. Her longtime crush that she always saw standing tall facing any challenge that came his way was no more. At the news of his death she soon fell into a depression, not really talking to anyone anymore, and was either out training to drown out her emotions or in her room crying herself to sleep. Her father, though always seemingly cold to the young Hyuga heiress, was actually pretty distraught at how his daughter was affected at the news of the blonde's death. Hiyashi may seem cold, but he only does it for two reasons. One, he hopes that being cold would give his daughter the strength to try to prove him wrong and gain the courage to stand on her own 2 feet. 2 was the Hyuga elders. To them emotions are looked upon as a form of weakness. Hiyashi was already losing power over the clan to the elders, and he did not want to think what bold acts they may try if they saw him as weak. Hiyashi was also affected by the news of the young blonde's death, for not only did he know about his daughter's secret crush on the blonde, but he actually was silently encouraging her to himself. The reason for this was that he had a very likely suspicion of who the boy's parents were, for the answer is quite obvious now that he thinks about it, making him question the village's intelligence. Get rid of the whisker marks and you have a miniature version of Minato the Yondaime Hokage, his deceased friend. That alone made him on the boy's side and tried to defend him. Then there was his mother, which is also quite obvious. In all of Konoha there has only been 2 Uzumakis besides the boy. Mito is obviously not the boy's mother, so that only leaves one person, Kushina Uzumaki, his deceased wife's friend. So to him supporting the boy was not only to honor his deceased friend, but to also honor his deceased wife. Now back to the class, most of the people got over the news, most being the people who didn't care about the boy and deemed it not worth their attention, especially a certain Uchiha. Why would an elite Uchiha need to care about some dobi being alive or dead? At least when he was dead he didn't get in his way. The people who still had their attention on the Uzumaki decided to try to corner him after class and get answers to what happened. Naruto looked around trying to spot an empty seat, and he ended up seeing 2. One was near Sakura. Naruto had to stop himself from vomiting. How the hell did I find her attractive? Ugh. Then there was one next to a certain Hyuga heiress who was looking straight at him as if she were to take her eyes off of him for even a second he would disappear and still be dead. Naruto let a small smile come to his face. With the maturing he went through for the year he was gone, he became less dense to love. With him being able to figure out someone's feelings over the trip, he always ended up face-palming himself when he thinks of how oblivious he was to the girl's huge crush on him. The first thing he decided to do when he got back was to be nicer to the girl and actually get to know her better to make up for all the times he missed the girl's advances and blushing moments. Sitting down next to her he decided to say hello. "Hey, your name's Hinata, isn't it?" he questioned, already knowing the answer. Her response was a slow nod, as if her mind was trying to process what was happening, and as if she finally figured out the situation she was in. Her face instantly was covered by a crimson blush. "In N Naruto is sit ting right and next to me and ta talking to me." Then tears started to run down her cheeks. "He's alive. He's really alive," she started to cry to herself. Naruto, seeing this, instantly brought a hand up to her cheek, wiping away the tears, for he had a suspicion of what brought these tears. Damn. She must have been hit hard by my supposed death. If the huge crush she had on me were anything to go by. "Shish, it's alright. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere," He tried to comfort her with whispering soothing word to her. Luckily they were at the back of the class, so either the people didn't hear or see what was going on, or they just didn't care. For the people that did see it, though, a small smile came to their lips knowing about the girl's crush. Though what really shocked them were the blonde's actions. Could it be he's finally figured out the girl's feelings towards him? Were the thoughts running through the onlooker's mind. With that, class began with Iruka going into another one of his lectures, something about the past Hokages or something like that, seeing as Naruto was already trying to fight off falling asleep in the first 10 minutes of class. Damn, I forgot how boring class can be. At least I only had to deal with it for a week, then I'll be an actually ninja. Hours later, class had finally ended and the students started to exit the class on their way to who knows where. Naruto had stopped Hinata from leaving by grabbing her wrist before she could leave. Hey Hinata, wanna go grab some ramen? It's been ages since I've had Ichiraku's. Did end Naruto just ask me out on a date? Hinata thought to herself with the blush back on her face from before. Why, yes. With that, the two headed out of the class to go to Ichiraku's. Ichiraku's ramen. Naruto, Teuchi and Ayame both shouted, seeing their favorite costumer back and ordering his favorite food. Most people were still shocked to see him alive because at the moment it still hasn't been publicly announced that Naruto is alive. We thought you had died, Teuchi exclaimed, to which Naruto only smirked back at the aging man. It'll take more than that to take me out, Datbeo. Ayame then quickly ran around the booth to embrace the young blonde who has always been like a younger brother to her. Naruto, I'm so glad you're alive. It's alright Ayame-ne-chan. Not even death will keep me away from here. Naruto chuckled, getting a hearty laugh in return from Teuchi. Hinata had a small smile on her face after seeing Naruto's warm welcome from the father-daughter pair. Even though it's not by blood, this must be Naruto's family, she thought to herself. As if finally spotting the company that Naruto brought, the both of them got a sly smirk on their faces before Ayame decided to tease the two. So who's your date, Naruto? At the mention of their date, Hinata's face lit up in a blush even more red than all the others she's had today. Naruto's face turned into a grin and wrapped an arm around Hinata's shoulder before pulling her closer to himself. This here's Hinata Hyuga, and she's in the same class as me. With the added contact, Hinata finally looked like she had taken too much and seemed like she was about to faint, which Naruto noticed. Oops, I think I went too far, he said, with all of them looking at the girl who seems like she's about to faint. Both Teuchi and Ayame ended up chuckling at the two's actions before Teuchi invited them to sit down while he brings out the usual. After the meal was served and eaten, Naruto and Hinata gave the goodbyes and Naruto started to walk Hinata to the Hyuga compound. Outside Hyuga compound. Well, here we are, Hinata. I guess I'll see you tomorrow in class, Naruto said before he was about to leave. Wait, Hinata exclaimed, which surprised Naruto, for he's never even heard Hinata raise her voice before. Turning around, Hinata continued with what she was going to say. If it's okay with you, maybe we can do this AA again sometime. Hinata closed her eyes waiting for the answer, fearing that this may have been a one-time thing. A small smile came to his face after Hinata asked him, yeah, that would be great. Maybe we can go somewhere after class tomorrow. Hinata released her breath, which she didn't even know she was holding. Then a bright smile came to her face. Okay, I would like that, she said, not even once stuttering, further shocking Naruto. Wow, I never knew that Hinata looked so pretty, was the thought that crossed his mind after being stunned into silence from the beautiful smile Hinata gave him. Hyuga front entrance. Hiyashi had watched how his daughter had asked Naruto out on another date with a smile on his face. Thank you, Naruto. With you back, it seems like Hinata will finally rise up from the depression she's been in. Hiyashi greeted his daughter with the smile still on his face while Hinata entered the household. But I fear that the elders won't take kindly to the two of them dating. I will not let them interfere with the two of them though, Hiyashi said to himself while clenching his fist. Time skip 1 week. Genin exam day. Academy classroom. 1 week has passed since Naruto's return to Konoha and now Genin exam was finally upon them. Naruto had ended up taking Hinata out multiple dates throughout the week, getting to know the Hyuga heiress better, although it seems she still couldn't stop herself from blushing when she was around him. Naruto's thoughts then turned back to how the date from last night had ended. Flashback in front of Hyuga compound. Naruto and Hinata had just gotten back from their date for the day, which consisted of a small picnic on top of the Hokage monument. which they both greatly enjoyed being able to relax and spend time together without Naruto having to face the whispers and the glares thrown his way. Now they were back to the Hyuga compound with the pair once again trading their goodbyes, but this time Naruto decided to take a risk. Hinata turned around and was about to enter the gate of the compound when suddenly Naruto turned her around, then much to her shock and enjoyment Naruto and her were currently kissing. For when Naruto turned her around he immediately smashed his lips upon hers. This was both as a good luck for tomorrow and him trying to get something going on between them. Naruto finally pulled back with his cheeks a little red with a full-blown smile on his face. Good luck with the exams tomorrow Hinata, and maybe once we both become genin we can talk about how things are going to be between us, because well I like you and I know you like me, he said with the smile still on his face. With that Naruto turned around heading back to his apartment, while Hinata had a full-blown crimson blush covering every inch of her face. Hinata then started to walk through the gate and through the estate till she reached her room as if she were on autopilot. When Hinata finally was in her room with her door closed she immediately dived onto her bed while burying her head into her pillow with a squeal thinking of what just happened minutes ago. In N Naruto kissed me and he said he likes me. I'll definitely pass the exams I won't disappoint Naruto, she thought to herself with determination, and then we will be. Hinata never got to finish the thought for she had already fainted from the overheating of her full-blown blush that still didn't go away. Hey, at least she doesn't have to worry about not being able to fall asleep. End flashback. Hinata was determined to pass the exam and be together with the person she has had a crush on for years. She would not allow herself to fail no matter what. With Naruto though he was stuck at an impasse struck trying to figure out what to do. I could always go for perfect marks and show everyone I'm not the same Dobby that they used to know, but that might bring about unwanted attention. Then I could always try to pass with barely passing marks and keep up the Dobby appearance, but then no one would probably take me serious. I guess I can try to go for the middle lane and try to get average marks making people take me serious while not gaining too much attention. With his decision made Naruto decided he would hold himself back and try to seem as if his skills were average. Alright class, today as you all know and have been waiting for the Genin exams. To start off with there will be an exam on Genjutsu. You will be paired up and cast a Genjutsu on your partner while your partner tries to release himself from the Genjutsu, then you and your partner will switch roles. After the Genjutsu exam is the Taijutsu exam. For the first part of this exam will be target practice on practice dummies with kunais and shurikens. Afterwards will be a sparring practice between the same people you partnered up with for the Genjutsu. Finally the exam for ninjutsu will consist of a Kawarimi Jutsu, a Henge Jutsu, and a Bunshin Jutsu. I was trying to make exams for all three of the different categories. Iruka then started to list off people as partners. Hinata was paired up with someone whose name he didn't even know. Shikamaru and Choji were paired up. Ino and Sakura were paired up. While Sakura kept saying how she was going to completely defeat Ino Pig. And then, Sasuke-kun will be all hers with Ino just sweat dropping the whole time hoping that she wasn't that bad when she was in her fangirl state of mind. Finally Naruto's name was called up and he was partnered up with Sasuke Uchiha. Great, I got the emo jerk, Naruto whined to himself. Naruto was the first of the two to cast a Genjutsu, which most people weren't expecting him to even be able to do since he has never once succeeded. To their amazement thought Naruto did cast a successful Genjutsu that just made Naruto invisible to Sasuke, a basic level Genjutsu. Kai, Sasuke said half-heartedly expecting the Genjutsu to break before his elite self, but to his amazement nothing happened. Kai, Sasuke said one again, this time putting some effort into it and actually breaking the Genjutsu this time. Sasuke let a smirk cross his face thinking it must have been a fluke. Hey, no matter what you'll always be dead last Dobby. Now Naruto liked to pride himself in being able to control his emotions a lot better than he could a year ago, but the moment the arrogant Uchiha opened his mouth Naruto got a sudden urge to just punch him straight in the face for some reason. He let himself be satisfied with a tick mark appearing above his eye though. Hey sensei, we shouldn't even bother with the Dobby trying to break out of my Genjutsu, there's no way he'll be able to, Sasuke said with an arrogant smirk on his face. Iruka let out a sigh at the boy's arrogant attitude. Sasuke, everyone gets a chance. TCH. Hey Dobby, just give up, there's no way a dead last like you could break out of the Genjutsu cast by an elite Uchiha like myself. Sasuke said, and you could hear Sakura squealing in the background. Sasuke's so cool. Then she turned her attention to Naruto. Hey Baka, you should do as Sasuke-kun says. You're not worth Sasuke-kun's time. Naruto just watched on with a sweat drop. I think I'd like to give it a chance anyway, Naruto said, though even though the sweat drop was there, his forehead kept getting more and more tick marks the more the arrogant brat kept talking. Gah, I just want to wipe that arrogant smirk straight of his face, he's so freaking annoying, was what Naruto was currently thinking. Then an idea came to him and with it a smirk crossed his face. Sasuke ended up casting a low-ranked genjutsu that was about low genin rank. Wow, he's really underestimating me. With a smirk Naruto calmly stated, Kai, and Sasuke's genjutsu instantly broke apart with Naruto looking as if he wasn't even struggling, which in fact he wasn't. Sasuke's smirk was instantly wiped off his face once his genjutsu was released. Wait, let me try that again, that must have been a fluke. Yeah, there's no way the Baka could have broke Sasuke-kun's genjutsu, Sakura shrieked in the background. Iruka's sweat dropped while he was about to state that there were no second chances, but Naruto interrupted him before he could say anything. Go ahead Iruka-sensei, let him try again so I can prove to him that it wasn't a fluke. The smirk was instantly back on Sasuke's face once Naruto said that. Hey, looks like the Dobi knows how to show respect to his betters, he said, completely ignoring how Naruto said he was going to prove that it wasn't a fluke. Naruto's eyes started to twitch at the Uchiha's comments. So he thinks he's my better, huh? How about I make this one more flashy and humiliating for him then, he thought with the smirk returning to his face. Sasuke then cast another genjutsu, this time one between mid and high genin rank. Well, at least he's taking me serious this time. Naruto's smirk then grew right as he shouted, Kai, as he pumped massive amount of chakra into the release. The genjutsu was released in a shockwave of blue chakra as Sasuke was pushed off his feet and landing right on his backside, while Naruto was looking down upon him with the smirk still on his face. Sasuke was clenching his fists while glaring up at the Dobi. He thought of charging at the Dobi, humiliating him, but he decided that he would just humiliate him in the taijutsu sparring exam. Baka, what did you do to Sasuke-kun? Sakura shrieked louder than before, making the people around her hold their ears in pain. You must have cheated, there's no way you could have beaten Sasuke-kun. Naruto's eye was again twitching. Gah, how the hell did I ever find that Banshee attractive? Now I just want to go back in time and smack some sense into the younger me. She's so freaking annoying. How is it that both the emo and the Banshee seem to annoy me so much? He thought to himself, questioning his sanity when he was younger. He then thought of a way to shut the Banshee up, so with a smirk on his face he released another shockwave of chakra, this time blowing her off her feet. The people around her were instantly in hysterics at seeing her shocked face. Naruto then headed over and stood beside Hinata, who had a hand over her mouth trying to stop the laughter that was trying to break through. He learned that she had also been able to break through her opponent's genjutsu easily while her opponent struggled to break through hers. Once Iruka was successfully able to control the laughter that was trying to overcome him, he saw that everyone else was done. Okay class, the genjutsu part of the exam is over now, it's time for the target practice exam. Follow me outside to the training ground. Once everyone was at the training ground, they started to go one after the other in alphabetical order, taking turns at the target practice. Sasuke ended up getting a 10 out of 10, to which he let a smirk spread across his face, to which he targeted to a certain blonde-haired boy. With a roll of his eyes, Naruto stepped up to take his turn, getting a 7 out of 10, average. Now it was time for the next part of the taijutsu exam, the sparring match. Again, people were paired up the same way as before with the genjutsu, with Naruto once again facing the arrogant Uchiha, who still had a smirk on his face from the target practice. Hey, like I said, once Adobe always Adobe, he said again, making a tick appear above Naruto's eyebrow. What is his problem? I mean, I completely humiliated him in the genjutsu exam, so why does he keep thinking he's so freaking superior to me? The rest of the students had not yet begun their own spars as all eyes were set on the two boys about to face off. Normally Iruka would have shouted at the students to stop watching them and to get on with their own matches, but for the moment Iruka's attention, like everyone else's, was focused solely on the two boys that were about to face off. I'll make you pay for earlier, a dead last like you will never be better than an elite like me. The Uchiha kept ranting, trying to get it through the blonde's head that he would always be nothing when compared to him. Okay, seriously, is he ever going to shut up or is planning to talk me into submission? Although that does sound nice if it at least makes him shut up, Naruto thought in annoyance at the arrogant boy's never-ending rant of how he's king of the world or something like that. Naruto tried to tune him out, but then he heard something that instantly caught his attention. "Hey, I've seen you hanging out with that Hyuga girl, who also happens to be an elite unlike you. Maybe I should take her from you and show her how it is to be with a real elite as my mistress for when I rebuild my clan," Sasuke said with a smirk on his face. Everyone could not believe what the Uchiha had just said, well except for Sakura, who said, "Yeah, Sasuke-kun, that girl can be our little slave." Snap! Once everyone heard the snap, all eyes were moved away from the Uchiha to Naruto, only to find the spot he was once at empty. All except one person who kept her eyes on her, Sasuke-kun. Kya? Naruto Baka, let go of Sasuke right now. All eyes then went back to where Sasuke was, to see Naruto standing next to Sasuke with his left foot forward and his right hand holding Sasuke's face. "You've gone too far this time," Naruto said in a voice that sent shivers down everyone's spines. With a heave, Naruto then slammed the back of Sasuke's head into the ground, instantly knocking him out cold. Everyone watched this happen with wide eyes and jaws dropped, as the supposedly dead last had instantly defeated the elite Uchiha in just one move with little to no effort. What the hell was with that speed? That's at least low-mid Chunin level speed, thought a slack-jawed Iruka, not believing his eyes. "Naruto, what kind of training did you go through?" He then finally noticed how everyone else has still not started their match. When he was about to yell at everyone to stop gawking and start their matches, he was interrupted by a shriek that should not have been humanly possible. "Naruto Baka, what do you think you're doing to Sasuke? He's an elite Uchiha, you have no right to harm your betters. You better bow down and beg for his forgiveness, you dead last," the pink banshee shrieked to the boy who looked at her in boredom. "You done yet?" he questioned. With another shriek, Sakura then charged straight at Naruto, making him lift an eyebrow at her action. "Does she seriously think she can hurt me?" Sakura swung at Naruto only for him to disappear. With a quick chop to the back of her neck, Naruto ended up knocking her unconscious, not even bothering to try to catch her. He then looked towards Ino, who she was supposed to spar with. "Sorry Ino. Looks like I left you without a sparring partner." With a blush, Ino then spoke back to Naruto, "And no, it's fine. She charged at you, so it's not your fault anyway." Naruto smiled at her response, getting another blush from her. Looks like she's changed for the better since I've been gone. If it's okay with you and Iruka-sensei, I could fill in as your partner if you want me to," he questioned while glancing at Iruka from the corner of his eye. "If it's okay with Ino, then I will allow it," was all he said. Naruto then refocused his sight back on Ino, who gave a nod of agreement. Once the spar was done, with Naruto really just dodging her attacks while commenting on hole in her guard, Iruka then spoke up. "Alright, the taijutsu part of the exam is over now, all that's left is the ninjutsu part. So line up, and when it's your turn you will perform the kawarimi, henge, and bunshin jutsu in that order." "Nice job Ino, with a little refinement you would be a fine kunoichi," Naruto said with a kind smile on his face before heading over to the line, not noticing the blush that had spread on her face. "Why am I blushing so much? I mean, it's Naruto, although it does feel nice being acknowledged for the hard work I put into my skills," she thought to herself. When she had gotten over fangirl mentality, Ino had actually started to work harder on her ninja skills, trying to become a kunoichi of Konoha instead of some mindless follower. This in turn had made her father proud at his daughter's resolve, especially when she came to him asking for help in her training and taking her clan jutsu training more seriously. Though that he approved of the most was that she was no longer going on her diet and had stopped starving herself. The students were all lined up with Naruto near the end, for the line had been reorganized into alphabetical order just like with the target practice exam. Sasuke and Sakura had been woken up through the use of smelling salts that were always carried around during the exams in case someone was knocked unconscious like they had. The two were currently glaring at the blonde boy who had made them unconscious in the first place, but fortunately for the blonde, neither of them had said anything yet and just stuck to glaring. After Sasuke's turn, in which he had gotten another high score, although this time it seemed instead of the well-known smirk that would usually follow, he was still glaring at the blonde whose turn was now up. Naruto decided he had stuck out too much so far and decided to go back to his average score plan. So he performed both an average Kawamire and henge, in which he had to transform into Iruka-sensei, and now it was time for the bunshin. Just as he had gathered the chakra and was about to perform an average bunshin, a feeling came across him, one that he was quite familiar with. The feeling was telling him to fail the Bunshin. Now usually no normal person would follow such a feeling. For Naruto, though, he had been instructed to always follow the feeling by Riku-sensei if the feeling ever came about, which he has been whenever he's had the feeling before. Flashback. Naruto, I will now tell you one of the most important abilities that all Keyblade bearers end up with. Riku stated, catching Naruto's attention at the thought of learning a new skill. All Keyblade wielders end up with what you could call a sixth sense, you could call it a reaction. The reaction is basically a highly tuned form of instinct. The reaction is when a person gets a strong feeling of what they should do next, Riku stated. Seeing Naruto's confused face, he decided to bring up an example. Naruto, have you noticed how that even though you've never wielded a sword before, you were able to fight like that of a master swordsman? Getting a nod, he continued, that is basically a lesser form of the reaction sense. What is basically happening is that your body is instantly reacting to the situation you are in and inputs information into your body what to do. For sword battle, it tells your body how to swing and when to block. For example, the combos you pull off is a chain of reactions telling your body how to combine a chain of attacks to damage your opponent. There are times where the feeling may have nothing to do with battle though. Say if you are presented two paths, the reaction sense may instruct to you which path you would need to go. Riku explained, hoping he got the full importance across to him. I think I understand, so what you mean in this reaction is basically your instinct telling you what to do in any given situation that may lead to a favorable outcome, Naruto said, trying to summarize what his sensei had told him. Getting a nod from Riku, who was happy that the blonde had truly understood how important the reaction can be. Remember, Naruto, if you ever feel a reaction coming, follow it. Do not question it, for it will always save you and bring you to a favorable outcome. End flashback. So Naruto, putting full faith into the reaction, pumped up too much chakra into the Bunshin jutsu. And with a poof, a failure of a Bunshin appeared, though a puff of smoke looking like some boneless blob. Hee sorry sensei, seems like the Bunshin jutsu is still too much for me, Naruto said with a sheepish look while rubbing his hand on the back of his head. Iruka let out a sigh, damn, and he was doing so well too. But the ninjutsu exam is something you must pass, unlike the other two. Iruka looked at the blonde and with a solemn expression he said, I'm sorry Naruto, but if you can't perform a successful Bunshin jutsu, then I'm going to have to fail you. Hee it's okay Iruka-sensei. I guess it was too soon for me to try the genin exam. I mean, I have been gone for a year now, Naruto said before going with the rest of the group back to the classroom. Iruka then announced that everyone but Naruto had passed and that they should come back next week for team assigning. Once he was done, he dismissed the class with Naruto being the first one to leave, giving no time for Hinata to try to comfort or crush. I hope Naruto's going to be alright, she thought to herself with a worried expression. Outside the classroom on the swing, where he was after he failed in the cannon. Naruto was currently sitting on the swing outside of the classroom, which was always his little quiet spot to where he could think without being bothered. He was currently mulling over the reaction he had in class while ignoring the blatant stares and whispers being directed towards him by the parents of the students that did pass. Now I just have to wait and see why the reaction wanted me to purposely fail, Naruto thought to himself, not even worried about him failing, placing full trust into the reaction. As if to answer his question, the other Chunin that was assisting Iruka-sensei came up to Naruto. Naruto, he called, catching the boy's attention. Mizuki-sensei, Naruto said with a raised eyebrow. Hey Naruto, I know that Iruka may have failed you, but what if I told you a little secret about how you could pass? Mizuki said, inwardly smirking as he set his plan to motion. Why would you tell me the secret? Naruto questioned, trying to see where this may be leading. Well, since you were doing so well in all the other exams and only failed the Bunshin exam, I believe you deserve another chance, was the answer he received. TCH, yeah right, like he would think I deserved another chance. He looks at me just like all the other villagers, although he does hide it better than them, were his thoughts, trying to process what Mizuki may be planning. Mizuki handed Naruto a slip of paper. All you have to do is successfully take the forbidden scroll to this location and learn at least one jutsu from it, and then you pass, Mizuki said before turning and leaving with a smirk now plastered on his face, thinking of how gullible the demon brat is. What he didn't see is a smirk on Naruto's own face as Mizuki left with only one word running through his thoughts. Jackpot. Hokage's office. Hiruzen was once again facing off against the dreaded paperwork feared by all cages. Why can't something come up to save me from all this damn paperwork? Hiruzen sighed after looking at the piles of paperwork that still needed to be completed. It seemed as if his request was about to be granted as Naruto suddenly barged into his office. "Naruto, what are you doing here so late at night?" Hiruzen questioned, for it indeed was late out with the sun long since setting. "Hokage-sama," Naruto started instantly catching his attention, for Naruto would usually always address him as Jiji. "There is a traitor in Konoha." Hiruzen's eyes widened then instantly turned serious. Traitors were indeed a serious issue that must be dealt with as quickly as possible before any village secrets can be revealed. "Naruto, who is the traitor, and do you have any proof?" the Hokage questioned. "The traitor is a chunin named Mizuki. He currently assists Iruka-sensei at the academy," Naruto answered for the first part of the Hokage's question. "Currently I have no proof, but I have information on what he plans to do." Hiruzen motioned for Naruto to continue and explain with what he knew. "Mizuki planned to trick me into stealing the forbidden scroll of sealing and bring it to him," Naruto said. The Hokage's eyes widened at the implications of what Naruto just said. "This is more serious than I thought. To think that he would try to include Naruto into his scheme to steal the forbidden scroll of all things. If that had gotten into enemy hands, then who knows what would have happened," thought Hiruzen, who was currently trying to figure out a way to capture Mizuki. "The problem is there's no proof, and I highly doubt the council will take Naruto's word over anyone else's," thought Hiruzen, but then Naruto decided to inform him about his own plan. "Jiji, I say that I go along with Mizuki's plan and bring the scroll to the designated location where I will then capture him with proof," said Naruto, to which Hiruzen instantly tried to deny. "Naruto, I'm glad you wish to try to capture the traitor, but he's a chunin while you're not even a genin yet. I'm stronger than you think. I assure you that I can handle him. Here, how about this, Jiji? If I perform a jutsu that can knock you out, we go along with my plan," Naruto said, already having a jutsu in mind. Hiruzen decided to go along with this, having confidence that nothing Naruto could do could knock him out. "Naruto, I highly doubt you will be able to knock me out, but go ahead, though once you fail you must throw away you plan to try to confront him yourself." "Alright Jiji, but don't hold this against me, you brought it upon yourself," Naruto said before performing a hand sign and being covered in smoke. "A henge? Surely he doesn't think that will do anything to me," Hiruzen could only wonder. "Oiroke no jutsu." Then the smoke cleared to show that where Naruto once stood was now a busty blonde with hair tied up in twin tails, with smoke barely keeping her modesty. Naruto had originally created this jutsu to play a prank on Riku. The reason being was that Riku always seemed to be calm and collected and nothing ever seemed to get to him. That changed though once Naruto had revealed his newest jutsu. I still remember Riku-sensei's reaction to that jutsu, still can't believe he shot that far back from a nosebleed. Hiruzen was then knocked out by massive nosebleed that rocketed him backwards out of his seat. "Sorry about that Jiji," Naruto said before heading over towards a shelf packed with numerous scrolls. After a while of searching, Naruto finally found the scroll he was looking for. "Alright, I got it, no I just need to set the trap and catch the traitor." "Forest surrounding Konoha. Alright, now that I'm where he wanted me to be, now I just gotta wait for him to show up. I've got a scroll here filled with powerful jutsus and time to kill," Naruto thought to himself before opening the scroll and looking over the names of the jutsus and a brief skim over the description. Most of these seem either too dangerous or just don't fit with my style. Wait, what do we have here?" Naruto thought to himself before stopping on one jutsu in particular. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Now why would this be here? Here we go, equally distributes chakra between the clones, and it's a solid body clone. Still doesn't explain why it's in the scroll. Sure, it can be dangerous but not enough to be a kinjutsu. Oh wait, here we are. Wow, that explains it, this is actually perfect for someone like me. And with that, Naruto had decided on which jutsu he would learn while killing time waiting for Mizuki to come and fall for his trap. Iruka's house. Iruka was currently thinking back to the night the Kyuubi had attacked Konoha, the night he had lost his parents, making him an orphan just like Naruto. He was broken out of his thoughts though when there was a sudden knock on his door. Iruka answered the door only to find Mizuki, his assistant, behind the door. "Iruka, we must go to the Hokage's office. Naruto has taken the forbidden scroll of sealing as a prank." Iruka was shocked. He couldn't believe that Naruto would do something so foolish which could be seen as traitorous. Iruka and Mizuki then headed towards the Hokage's office, stopping outside of after seeing a mob of angry ninja. They then saw the Hokage speaking to the ninja. Naruto has indeed stolen the forbidden scroll of sealing. Find Naruto and do not let the scroll enter into the wrong hands. With that, all of the ninja spread out into different areas hoping to find the boy. There now Mizuki is heading towards Naruto. I leave the rest to you, be safe. Iruka then headed towards the woods in hope to find Naruto, while Mizuki decided to spread the news and then make it seem like Naruto ran off with the scroll. Forest outside Konoha. Naruto had long since mastered the jutsu and was currently waiting for Mizuki until he felt a familiar chakra signature heading his way. I guess it's been reported that I've taken the scroll, but how the hell did Iruka-sensei find me? Shit, this could ruin the plan. Ha, I found you, Iruka said when he appeared in front of the boy. Iruka, now's not the time, get ready. Iruka raised an eyebrow at Naruto's response before he heard the sound of something cutting through the air. Iruka was about to push Naruto out of the way, but instead he felt himself being pulled along with Naruto being pulled out of the way. Impressive dodge, the attacker said, identifying himself. Naruto, give me the scroll. Naruto decided to play along for a little more as the Dobi in hopes of having Mizuki reveal his plans to both him and Iruka, giving him enough proof. WW, what do you mean, Mizuki-sensei? WW, why did you attack Iruka-sensei? Don't give him the scroll, Iruka said while glaring at Mizuki. That scroll is filled with dangerous jutsus. Mizuki used you to acquire it. Good job, Iruka-sensei. Now I don't have to worry about him trying to figure out what's going on, Naruto thought before looking back at Mizuki. Naruto, there's no point in you having it, Mizuki said with a smirk. How about I tell you the truth? Iruka's eyes widened at what Mizuki was about to reveal to the young blonde. Mizuki, don't. Do you remember how 12 years ago the Yondaime Hokage defeated the Kyuubi? Mizuki asked. Kyuubi? Why is he bringing up the Kyuubi now of all times? Well, since that day a law was made by the Sandaime Hokage. A law centered around the Kyuubi, Mizuki said, his smirk turning maniacal. The law states that the truth of that night 12 years ago was to never be revealed to the younger generation, but mainly this law was to keep the truth away from you. Truth behind the attack? What the hell is he going on about? Why would there be a law to keep the truth from me? Were the frustrated thoughts of Naruto, not seeing where this was going. The truth is, even though the Yondaime was powerful, he could not defeat the Kyuubi, Mizuki said with glee, taking sick entertainment in how he was about to ruin the boy. Wait, couldn't be defeated? Then what happened? Why did the attack stop? Instead, the Yondaime Hokage had to seal the Kyuubi into an infant. Mizuki said, almost about to reveal the most well-kept secret in all of Konoha. Sealed in an infant. Wait, he couldn't mean. But then all those glares and that night, it's all starting to make sense. The Kyuubi was sealed into you, Naruto Uzumaki. You're the Kyuubi, Mizuki said while shouting the last part. Naruto was shaking, making those around him thinking he was shivering in fear or disbelief. But both were wrong, he was shaking with pure anger. How dare they? The reason they hate me is because the Kyuubi is sealed inside of me. Don't they know that doesn't make me Kyuubi, but the seal that holds it back from killing all of them? How dare they? Hey moron, Naruto shouted, catching Mizuki off guard. Imagining the boy trying to deny the truth, not to be calling him a moron. Don't you know the difference between a kunai and the scroll it's sealed in? How the hell are you even a chunin if you can't even figure that out? Iruka was proud of Naruto for not letting the truth get to him and make him spiral into depression. Mizuki on the other hand was furious. How dare this demon insult and humiliate me? I'll make him pay. Mizuki then took the Fuma shuriken off of his back and threw it at Naruto. Iruka was about to cry out Naruto's name and put himself between the shuriken and his student, but he was in for a surprise when Naruto twisted his body to the side in a split second, dodging the giant shuriken with barely any difficulty. Is that all you got? If so, I restate what I said earlier. How the hell are you a chunin? Naruto calmly questioned, igniting Mizuki's rage even further. Mizuki then charged at Naruto and was about to punch him right in the side of the head, but again Naruto dodged it in a split second with Mizuki's fist hitting nothing but air. You really are slow, you know that, Naruto said as if pointing out the obvious. Here, let me try now. With that, Naruto did exactly as he said and proceeded to take his turn, which in fact was a straight punch hitting Mizuki right in the middle of his chest, making him be sent flying back and crashing into the trunk of a tree. Don't tell me that's all you could take, Naruto said, feeling slightly disappointed, expecting more of a challenge. Mizuki then pulled himself back up, all the while glaring at the boy who seemed to be mocking him. I will never let a demon like you defeat me." While Mizuki was finishing his sentence, he charged back at Naruto, who only shook his head and sighed. "How predictable. Maybe I should test that new jutsu of mine." The irony to defeat him with the jutsu that he indirectly allowed me to learn. Naruto then brought his hands into a strange hand sign that had the index and middle finger of both hands forming a cross. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. And with that, a massive amount of smoke covered the clearing. When the smoke cleared, what they saw made both Iruka and Mizuki go slack-jawed and wide-eyed, for the clearing was now filled with hundreds of Narutos, all sporting a somewhat sadistic smirk in Mizuki's direction. Mizuki was currently only having one thing run through his head right now: oh shit. "Hey Mizuki Teme. No matter how much damage you can do, I will always deal you the same damage 1,000-fold, shouted all of the Narutos before charging at Mizuki. The battle, to sum it up in short, would be described as a massacre, for Mizuki ended up being brutally beaten up by all of the Narutos, making him end up bruised black and blue with bumps all over his body. Hokage's office. Hiruzen had long since been watching over the battle between Naruto and Mizuki. Impressive, Naruto. Not only did you learn a technique that is easily Junin level, but you could create so many clones. Then again, you are an Uzumaki. An Anbu then entered his office bringing him news. "Hokage-sama, we have found the boy. We are about to go and retrieve both the boy and the scroll." "Don't," Hiruzen said, surprising the Anbu. "The problem has been solved and Naruto will soon be returning with the scroll. Guide him to my office." With that, the Anbu then vanished, heading towards the boy to bring him to the Hokage as ordered. Forest outside Konoha. Iruka was currently staring at his favorite student as he was grabbing both the scroll and Mizuki and bringing them both over to Iruka. "Hey, amazing Naruto, you never cease to impress me. To create so many clones, all of them solid no less." Iruka then started to remember how Naruto would always state how he would become Hokage and surpass all the previous Hokages. "Hey Naruto, come over here, I want to give you something." Naruto put both Mizuki and the scroll down and walked in front of Iruka. "Close your eyes," he said, with Naruto doing just that. Naruto felt something brush up and wrap around the top of his head above his blinder. "Okay. You can open your eyes now." Naruto opened his eyes to see Iruka's face, but this time he saw something different. Iruka now lacked the usual headband that was always on his forehead. Naruto then brought a hand up to his forehead to feel the cold metal of a headband. Naruto's eyes started to tear up and he rushed at Iruka, hugging him. "Thank you, Iruka-sensei," Naruto said, trying to stop himself from crying. The reason he was about to cry was, even though he was usually laid back, he indeed did wish for a family, to which Iruka seemed to fill in as his older brother. "Alright Naruto, let's head back. I'm sure Hokage-sama is worried. Also, we need to return the scroll and bring in Mizuki," Iruka said while glancing at both the scroll and the traitor. Gates of Konoha. Naruto and Iruka were then stopped by an Anbu when they were heading through the gates into Konoha. Iruka was about to explain the truth but was interrupted by the Anbu. "Naruto, Iruka, you are both to head towards the Hokage's office while I bring the traitor to the INT." Iruka then handed over Mizuki to the Anbu while both he and Naruto headed straight to the Hokage's office. Hokage's office. Naruto and Iruka then entered into the Hokage's office to find the Hokage looking straight at them from behind his desk. "Congratulations Naruto for both graduating and completing your first A-rank mission." Iruka was shocked when he heard about Naruto completing an A-rank mission, while Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Must be a cover-up." "Hokage-sama, what do you mean by A-rank mission?" Iruka questioned, trying to figure what the hell was going on. Naruto was given an A-rank mission to act as bait along with the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing to apprehend the traitor Mizuki, along with finding proof of his actions to present to the council, Hiruzen stated, already having a cover story in place. Iruka was even more surprised. Naruto was under orders to take the scroll, and he already knew about Mizuki. When did this happen? "Now Naruto, if you would return the scroll to me," Hiruzen said, "and please fill a report of your mission, and I will then give you the reward for an A-rank mission." "Short GG, but there's something I need to talk to you about." He then glanced at Iruka. "Sorry sensei, but I need to talk to him alone." Iruka had instantly figured out what he wished to discuss with the Hokage. He must wish to talk about the Kyuubi. Iruka gave a nod to both Naruto and the Hokage and then exited the room. "Okay GG, I already know you were watching me, so you must know what I'm going to talk to you about." Hiruzen let out a sigh. He had always been dreading the moment he would have to explain about the Kyuubi to Naruto, although he expected Naruto to be older by the time he did. Well, as I'm sure you already know, even though the Yondaime was powerful, he could not defeat the Kyuubi, so he instead had to seal inside of an infant. That infant was you, Naruto, Hiruzen said, basically repeating what Mizuki had told him except about how he was the demon. Hehe, you know I'm trying to figure out how I didn't figure that out. I mean, my birthday is on the same freaking day the Kyuubi attacked. Then there's the glares, and also the night 1 year ago, Naruto said while saddening the Hokage while he was hearing about what Naruto had to go through. Okay Gigi, no more secrets, tell me who my parents are, Naruto said, wishing to get all the secrets out of the way. Hiruzen again sighed, it seems many secrets will be revealed tonight. Alright Naruto, I'll tell you, but listen and do not interrupt me until I'm done, Hiruzen said. I'll start off with you father I guess and get that out of the way. Naruto, your father is the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, Hiruzen said, to which Naruto's eyes widened. Your father truly loved you Naruto, and he would always regret how he had to seal the Kyuubi into you, but he had no other choice. I'm sorry I could not reveal who your father was, but you see your father had made many enemies, especially from Iwa, who would surely send out assassination attempts upon the son of the Yellow Flash. Naruto nodded in understanding. A ninja such as the Yondaime Hokage would indeed make many enemies. Heck, in Iwa alone he had defeated a whole army using the Hiraishin no Jutsu, gaining the nickname the Yellow Flash. Your mother's name was Kushina Uzumaki, she was actually much like you are, always shouting to everyone how she would be the first female Hokage, Hiruzen stated, chuckling to himself, remembering the redhead's antics from when she was younger. She's actually the last Uzumaki from a hidden village named Uzushiogakure. She later became the Kyuubi's second container after another Uzumaki named Mito Uzumaki, the wife of the Shodem Hokage. The Hokage said, revealing that Naruto was actually not the first container of the Kyuubi. So you're saying my mother was a Jinchuriki before me? Naruto questioned, shocking Hiruzen. Naruto, how do you know about Jinchurikis? He asked, wondering how the boy learned of such a word. Hehe Gigi, I've been gone for a year. I ended up learning several things while I was gone, he said while the Hokage gained a look of understanding. I guess being away for a year would allow Naruto to learn of several things. Anyways, your mother and father had to keep their relationship a secret for fear of attack upon Kushina to get revenge on Minato. The old man stated, getting an understanding look from Naruto. That means that they also had to keep your birth a secret. Naruto, you see, during childbirth a Jinchuriki's seal becomes fragile. And while I do not know what happened during your birth, I do know that the Kyuubi ended up being released and attacked the village, Hiruzen said, explaining how the Kyuubi even ended up attacking the village. Naruto was currently trying to wrap his head around the information that had been revealed to him. Not only was he the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, but he was also the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Hokage, seeing the stress Naruto seemed to be under, decided to bring something up to change the topic to something lighter, and something that actually made him let out a perverted giggle. Hey Naruto, as you know, you are the last member of both the Namikaze and the Uzumaki clan, Hiruzen said, getting a raised eyebrow from Naruto, wondering what the Hokage was trying to get at. Well, since you are the last of both clans, you end up falling under the CRA. Naruto instantly paled. That crafty perverted old man, was the thoughts of the blonde. Usually most men would be ecstatic at such news, but not Naruto, for Naruto never had any plans to pair up with multiple women. In fact, he was currently trying to get to know Hinata better and maybe even start a relationship with said girl. Hinata, oh shit, how will she take this? Naruto thought after having his mind drift to the girl he had kissed only a couple of days ago. Hiruzen meanwhile was chuckling to himself the entire time, seeing the display of emotions that kept playing over Naruto's face. Hey, I wonder what kind of harem Naruto will have, he thought, releasing another perverted giggle. Hiruzen though knew there was another matter to bring up, so he calmed himself down and returned to being serious as he was before mentioning the CRA. Naruto, now that you know who your parents are, I plan to announce your heritage to the rest of the village if you end up entering the Chunin exams in a couple months' time, Hiruzen said, wishing to somehow make his surrogate grandson's life easier by giving him what is rightfully his. Naruto then nodded, agreeing with what the Hokage had said. Alright Gigi, I think I'ma go ahead and do this report now so I can head home and sleep. Naruto then handed Hiruzen the scroll and proceeded to filling out the report before acquiring the reward for the A-rank mission. With everything done and nothing else to do, Naruto then headed home to get some sleep after a long night. Time skip. Naruto's apartment. It had been a few days since Naruto's defeat of Mizuki with him becoming a Konoha ninja. During the time in between, Naruto had ended up meeting the Hokage's grandson, Konohamaru, and his private tutor Ebisu. Somehow Naruto had ended up becoming Konohamaru's boss, with him ending up teaching the boy how to perform the Oiroke no Jutsu. He also ended up creating another jutsu called Harem no Jutsu, which he used to have Ebisu end up being sent flying by a massive nosebleed. Naruto was currently waking up after a good night's sleep and getting himself prepared to go to class today. I wonder who my teammates are going to be, wondered Naruto, for today was indeed the day that all the new genin of Konoha will be arranged into teams of 3. I hope I'm teamed up with Hinata. Time skip. Academy classroom. Naruto walked through the doors to the classroom and spotted all his other classmates who became genin. Looking for a certain someone, Naruto ended up finding Hinata and walked to go sit next to her, but on his way he was stopped by a certain duck-butted Uchiha. "Dobi, what are you doing here? Only those who passed are supposed to be here," the Uchiha said, hoping to get the Dobi back for all the humiliation he got during the exam. "Hey duck butt, can't you see the Hite 8? Was his only answer as he walked past the glaring brooder. He continued to walk until he was next to Hinata, who seemed to be preoccupied with her own thoughts, seeing as she didn't even notice he was there. "Hey Hinata," he said, gaining said girl's attention, who looked up at him in surprise and what seemed to be relief. Naruto, I thought why you failed." "Yeah, I did, but I was given a second chance seeing how I did so well on all the other tests," he said, smiling while getting a smile in return. "That's great Naruto," she said without stuttering, showing how happy she really was that she would be able to graduate with her crush and maybe soon-to-be boyfriend. "Hee, I hope we end up on the same team," he said, getting a shy nod in return from the Hyuga heiress. Naruto had ended up holding a conversation with Hinata and greeted some of his friends while he was waiting for the class to start. Finally, after a few minutes, Iruka walked into the classroom. "Okay, class starting today. You are all finally real shinobi of the village, although you are all currently genin." Iruka then started to drone on about how each genin will end up in a team with 2 other genin while getting a junin instructor whose orders they will have to follow. The information of being in a 3-man team brought about different thoughts from different students. Naruto's thoughts were about wanting to be on a team with Hinata. The fangirls were all hoping to be teamed with a certain duckbutt, while said duckbutt was thinking being on a team will drag him down. "Alright, I will now designate who will be on what team and who your junin instructor will be," Iruka said. After Iruka finished naming the first 6 teams, of which Naruto knew none of the names of, Iruka then said, "Alright, next is Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno." Thump was heard as Naruto slammed his head down upon his desk, while a screech could be heard from his fellow teammate, and Sasuke Uchiha. The final name brought about several different reactions. For Sakura, she was cheering and gloating to the other fangirls who were all groaning about how they didn't get to be teamed with their precious Uchiha. Sasuke was currently glaring at Naruto, who was currently banging his head repeatedly upon his desk, wondering why he was being given this cruel and unusual punishment. "Is this because I pulled the Oiroke no Jutsu on Gigi, or maybe because I taught his grandson the jutsu? This has got to be some type of payback," were Naruto's current thoughts. The next teams to be named consisted of Hinata, Shino and Kiba being Team 8, while Team 10 was made up of Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji, the children of the original Ino Shikacho. "This afternoon we'll introduce you to your Junin sensei, so until take a break," Iruka said, dismissing the class. Time skip. "He's late," screeched an annoyed Sakura. The reason being is that their Junin sensei was currently 3 hours late from when he was supposed to show up. Sasuke was also annoyed, but he was trying to hide it by acting cool. Naruto, on the other hand, for some strange reason was grinning like a madman. "There is only one Junin who's ever this late. Maybe this will make up for who I'm teamed up with." Since Naruto was so happy with the revelation of who his sensei was, he was in no way, shape or form annoyed at the moment, which seemed to annoy the other 2 even more. "Naruto Baka, why are you so happy?" Sakura demanded, wondering why her teammate could look so happy about their sensei being so late. Naruto decided to take a page out of their soon-to-be sensei's book to annoy the girl even more. You say something?" Before, Sakura looked merely annoyed, but now she looked like she wanted to punch someone, that someone being either Naruto or their currently absent sensei. Naruto decided to use this moment to play a prank. The prank consisted of a tripwire, spring-loaded kunai, and a slingshot-like contraption filled with water balloons. After a few minutes of waiting, their sensei opened the door and snapped the wire tied to the door. Their sensei watched with interest while a kunai was released after he had opened the door. After the kunai was launched, it ended up hitting and cutting another wire, this time hold back a slingshot filled with water balloons. This however made their sensei raise his one visible eyebrow. Weird. No matter how I look at it, the balloons won't hit me, he thought. Like he had figured out the balloons indeed weren't aimed at him. Instead, the slingshot unloaded a shower of balloons upon Naruto's other teammates. Naruto looked on with an innocent look. Oops, seems my aim was off, was his only response. Kakashi let out a chuckle. How can I say this? My first impression is, well, one of you has a good sense of humor while the other two. He said the first part while looking at Naruto before turning towards the soaking duo. You need to train your reaction. Sasuke and Sakura seemed to be deciding which of the two to take their fury out on, but Kakashi had other plans. Well, you two dry off, then meet me and Naruto on the roof. Academy roof. Naruto's now dried teammates had just arrived to the roof after drying themselves. Seeing this, Kakashi decided to get started. Well, let's begin with introductions. What do you want to know? Sakura asked. How about your likes, dislikes, your dreams, and your hobbies? Kakashi answered. Sakura then asked, why don't you start with yourself first? Okay then, my likes and dislikes are none of your business, my dreams, and I have a lot of hobbies, he said, getting a sweat drop in return. Sakura and Sasuke's thoughts were along the lines of, he only told us his name, while Naruto was trying to stop himself from laughing. So Pinky, why don't you go now, said Kakashi, with Sakura gaining a tick mark at the nickname. My name is Haruno Sakura. The things I like, she glanced towards Sasuke while blushing, and dreams for the future. She took another glance at Sasuke. What I dislike are Naruto Baka and Ino Pig, she said while screaming out the last part. Finally, my hobbies are, and she ended with a final glance towards Sasuke. Naruto and Kakashi gained a sweat drop while gaining the same thought. Great, a fangirl, she's going to end up a liability most likely. Okay, you next, duck butt, Kakashi said while changing his focus to said duck butt. Sasuke gained a tick mark but didn't show any other emotions, probably trying to keep up the cool act. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't really like anything, while I dislike many things. He said this part while allowing a brief glare at Naruto. My dream. No, my goal is to restore my clan and kill a certain man, he finished. So an Avenger, Kakashi thought while Naruto's thoughts were along the same line. Now finally you, the one on the right, he said while Naruto's teammates completely missed how Kakashi didn't give him a mocking nickname. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are ramen and my precious people. My dislikes, well, I'll keep that to myself. My dreams are to become Hokage, and finally my hobbies I guess would be pranks, he said while not revealing much. He also got a glare from his teammates at the mention of pranks. He seems mature than from a year ago, except for the pranks, were Kakashi's current thoughts, so in the end it's a fangirl, an Avenger, and an enigma. Right now to Kakashi, Naruto was a mystery. He had no idea how the boy could have changed over the year and seemed to be keeping that information to himself while the other two basically stated what kind of person they are. Well, more like showed what kind of person they are for Sakura's case. Alright, that's it for the introductions. By tomorrow we will start our shinobi duties, Kakashi said when he finally got focus out of his thoughts. What will we be doing tomorrow? Naruto asked, truly wondering what is in store for him tomorrow. Well, tomorrow we will begin with survival training, he said, getting the interest of all three of them. Why is our first duty training? Sakura asked. We've already had enough training at the academy. Naruto could only cite to himself, academy training, not something that will last us, hopefully she will learn that. This time is different, Kakashi said, this time I will be your opponent. If you fail though you will be sent back to the academy, he said while giving all of them a serious look. Also there is a 66% chance of failing, and if you fail you will be sent back to the academy. This got several different reactions. For Sakura, she voiced her reaction, but we already passed the genin exam. That was only to see who had a chance to become a genin. This is the real test though, Kakashi stated, showing no emotions. For Sasuke, he was glaring at Kakashi while his thoughts were along the lines of, I cannot fail, I am an elite Uchiha, and I will not let anything hold me back from killing him. While Naruto's thoughts were more calculative, so 66% chance of failure, So 2/3 chance of failing while all of us have a 1/3 chance of passing and there's 3 of us. I think I see where this is going, but I need more information, something is being left out. Oh, by the way, I recommend you to skip breakfast, otherwise you might throw up. And with that said, he left, leaving the 3 genin alone. All 3 of them left the roof with their own thoughts while heading home to wait for tomorrow. Training ground. Sasuke and Sakura were currently at the training ground waiting for their other teammate and sensei. It had already been 2 hours since they were supposedly meant to meet up at, but there was not a sign of either. After a few more minutes of waiting, one of the two had finally shown up, to which Sakura decided to reprimand for being late. Naruto Baka, you're late. Naruto could only raise an eyebrow. You do know that Kakashi is late for everything by about 3 hours, right? He asked, only for both his teammates to develop a twitch upon their eyebrow, giving him his answer, guess not. A minute another Naruto arrived with a bowl of ramen in his hands, which was then grabbed by the Naruto that had shown up first. Finally a nice bowl of ramen in the morning. Naruto Baka, Kakashi-sensei told us not to eat, Sakura said while accusing the boy of disobeying orders. Actually, he didn't, he said. Before Sakura could refute back, he continued, he recommended us not to eat, he didn't say we weren't supposed to. With that he dispersed his clone, and to his surprise he gained memories of him going to eat Shiraku's ramen and ordering the ramen. What just happened? Did I just gain the memory of my clone? I'm going to have checked that out after the test. This might become something extremely useful, were his current thoughts. With another hour of waiting, Kakashi finally showed up and his eyes fell upon the trio he was about to test. Yo. With just that one word he greeted his students as if he didn't just make them wait 3 hours. Well, 2 of them anyway. Even after Naruto showed up, he took a quick nap after finishing his bowl of ramen. You're late, was the only answer he received from one of his students, who decided to bring to point out his tardiness by screeching at him. Getting back to business, Kakashi brought out an alarm clock. Okay, this is set for noon. Your goal is to take these 2 bells for me before the time's up, he said while bring out said 2 bells. Those who don't have a bell by noon will be tied to a stump and get no lunch, he said while pointing out 3 tree stumps, with one of them being the resting place for the alarm clock. Guess it's a good thing I did eat, Naruto thought while his teammates were glaring at him. All you have to do is take 1 bell, but if you fail to take a bell you will fail and be sent back to the academy, Kakashi said with a serious look on his face. But sensei, there's only 2 bells, Sakura said, getting a response from Naruto. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he already said that. Exactly, no matter what, one of you fails and will be sent to the academy, he said while looking at his students to see how they were reacting. Naruto just had a smirk on his face, so that's what was missing. He makes sense now. Sasuke had his eyes narrowed while glaring at Kakashi. No matter what, an Uchiha like me will not fail, especially not until I kill him. While Sakura seemed to be glaring at Naruto for his crack at her about her stating the obvious, but also seemed to be taking glances at Sasuke. This is a test for my love, I will not fail. Use anything at your disposal, also come at me with the intent to kill, otherwise you will fail, Kakashi said, earning a response from Sakura. But sensei, what if we hurt you? Naruto and Kakashi could only look at her as if she were stupid. Did she really just ask that? Were both of their current thoughts. Sakura, I think you'll be okay, Naruto said with a sweat drop on the back of his head. With everything he need to say being said, he decided to proceed with the test. Begin. Once he said those words, all 3 of the genin disappeared from in front of him. Stealth is a major ally for any and all shinobi, Kakashi said while looking around at where they were hiding. Seems they've hid pretty well. Sakura was currently under a bush while Sasuke seemed to be up in a tree, and Naruto was. Kakashi's lone visible eye widened. What? Where's Naruto? I can't even sense him. With Naruto. Naruto was currently hiding in a tree while masking his chakra to the point it seemed non-existent. He was currently in a tree that allowed him to see both his teammates and his sensei. Okay, it's pretty obvious what this test is about. The reason all genin are paired up with 2 others is to accomplish teamwork. This is a test to see if a team can work as a team, hence the 2 bells, a distraction to try to oppose the genin against each other, were his current thoughts. He had already a vague understanding it would be about teamwork. The thing he was missing though was why the fail rate was so high, and then Kakashi brought in the 2 bells, filling in the missing piece. Somehow I gotta get them to work with me. Well, first thing to do in battle is to gather information, So the best way to proceed would be to confront Kakashi while trying to get a read on his skills and speed while allowing both Sasuke and Sakura a chance to pick up on. With a plan decided, he vanished from his perch on the tree and was now standing in the clearing across from a surprised Kakashi. Although he hid any signs of being surprised. Why would he reveal himself when I couldn't even find him? What is he up to? Hee Kakashi, before anyone else can get involved, how about you and me have a little spar, Naruto said, while Kakashi was gauging how to react. Seeing no problems, he agreed while both of them got in a ready position. Come on Naruto, show me how much you've grown. Shinobi fighting lesson number 1 taijutsu, Kakashi said, while both he and Naruto were gauging the other, wondering who would attack first. Kakashi was planning to bring out his precious book as a form of handicap during the test, but he decided otherwise and instead focused on Naruto. Naruto was currently trying to figure out what level of exposure he should reveal. Maybe stick with level 1 for now with the skills of a high genin. Naruto decided to put his plan, so he began by creating cross-shaped hand sign while shouting out, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. And with a poof of smoke there were now 6 Narutos instead of 1. This ended up shocking Kakashi, which could be seen with his lone eye being wider than usual. How does he know a Junin level jutsu? Wait, now I see the forbidden scroll. 3 of the Narutos then proceeded to charge Kakashi, interrupting any further thoughts on the matter. 2 of the clones went for a roundhouse kick from both the right and left side, aiming for his chest and head, making Kakashi duck down only to position himself for the oncoming uppercut, which would have hit if Kakashi hadn't bent backwards to dodge it. Impressive. To coordinate the clones to position me for a follow-up attack, were Kakashi's current thoughts while he was dodging and weaving the attacks from the 3 Narutos. Kakashi decided he has had enough and dispatched 2 of the clones by catching oncoming kicks from both directions and slamming them into each other, making them burst. He then dispatched the third one by dodging the incoming punch and chopping him on the back of the neck. 3 down. Now there are just the 2 others and the original. Not back Kakashi, but how about we move on to the next part of the shinobi lessons, Naruto said when his 2 clones then started to perform some hand signs. Second part, huh? I guess he means ninjutsu. Wait, those hand signs, Kakashi thought with alarm. Naruto then proceeded to shout out the name of the jutsu, Futon. Glitter storm, wind release. Glitter storm. And with a gust of wind all the leaves around Naruto were then blown towards Kakashi at alarming speeds. Again impressive. He's using his surroundings to his advantage, in this case the leaves are from the trees. Kaden. Housenka no Jutsu. Fire release. Phoenix immortal fire, Kakashi called out before he blew out multiple fireballs to destroy the leaves before they could reach him, while creating a wall of smoke blocking both sides from viewing each other. Finally, when the smoke was cleared, Kakashi found himself standing alone in the clearing with Naruto returning to his hiding spot. He used the smoke to his advantage. But why did he challenge me in the first place? Unless, it seems he not only figured out the meaning of the test but also acted as a true shinobi should. Now to see if the other 2 picked up on what Naruto was trying to show them, Kakashi thought while glancing at his other 2 students. Sasuke was currently glaring at where his teammate once stood. How is the dobi that strong? Well, no matter, he's still no match to an Uchiha like me. While Sakura was trying to find Sasuke and seemed to barely have paid attention to the fight at all. Sadly, it seems neither of them picked up on what Naruto was trying to hint to them. Now that I've tested Naruto, I guess it's about time to test the other 2, Kakashi thought before he disappeared from the clearing. With Sakura was still looking for Sasuke, but then she heard something behind her. Turning around thinking it's Sasuke, she was surprised to see the face of her sensei with an eye smile behind her. Yo! Kakashi then dissolved into leaves that then started to rotate around Sakura, with her falling into a hypnotic state. Then all the leaves disappeared with Sakura snapping out of it. Wah, what just happened? She said while looking around her. Sakura, she heard from behind a bush. To her excitement, she recognized the voice as Sasuke. She then ran towards and around the bush shouting out, Sasuke-kun. What she saw though was an injured Sasuke leaning against a tree with multiple kunai and shurikens sticking out of his body, with one leg twisted in a way it shouldn't be and an arm that was cut off. Sakura, help me. KYA was heard throughout the training ground as Sakura proceeded to faint. Kakashi was currently observing how the girl had fallen under his genjutsu. Maybe that was a bit too much, Her record said she was at the top of her class though, he mumbled to himself with a sweat drop. With Sasuke. Sasuke became alert at the sound of the scream that flooded throughout the training ground, that scream. Shinobi fighting lesson number 2 Genjutsu. Sakura fell for it pretty easily, Kakashi said from behind Sasuke while he was leaning against a tree. Genjutsu huh, yeah she would fall for that but, I'm not the same as them, Sasuke said. He seems so sure of himself. Well let's see what he can do, Kakashi thought while he was studying the Uchiha. And why do you believe that you're so different? I mean Naruto seemed to fight pretty well. Sasuke glared at the mention of the Dobi's name. I don't know how the Dobi was able to do what he did but, I am an Uchiha. I am the elite of the elite. There is no way a Dobi like him could compare to me. Kakashi could only sigh and shake his head at the bold act of arrogance. That arrogance will get him killed if he always thinks of himself superior to everyone. Sasuke then bent down and pulled out several and tossed them towards Kakashi who proceeded to dodge them easily. But it seemed it was never the Uchiha's plan to hit him with them, for instead they ended up hitting a rope that then released many knives right in the direction of Kakashi, a trap? Kakashi again dodged this time into the air while all the knives passed by him and impaled themselves in a tree. The moment Kakashi landed he was then greeted with a kick from behind delivered by the Uchiha which Kakashi then blocked before it could hit him then he grabbed his ankle locking him in place. But it seems Sasuke wasn't done yet as he threw a punch at Kakashi's head while his foot was still trapped. Once again though the attack was useless as it was caught in the free hand of Kakashi, who was then assaulted by another kick from the Uchiha's other foot. Kakashi ended up crossing his arms while still holding on to the Uchiha's limbs to block the oncoming overhead kick. It seemed though it was all a distraction though for Sasuke's real plan as he then tried to grab the bell with his free hand. Seeing this Kakashi let go off Sasuke and jumped back out of his reach while Sasuke could only touch the bell just barely. I'll admit that was pretty impressive, he was even able to touch one of the bells, were Kakashi's current thoughts. Kakashi though was in for another surprise as Sasuke started to perform a set of hand signs ending up on the tiger hand sign. He then reared his head back while puffing up his cheeks in preparation for the jutsu. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, fire release. Great fireball technique. He thought in his mind while he released the jutsu in the form of a giant fireball heading towards Kakashi. What? Kakashi said while his thoughts were, a genin shouldn't have enough chakra to perform that jutsu. The fireball then hit where Kakashi was standing leaving a crater in the ground, but there were no signs of Kakashi. He's gone, in the air. No, on the sides, where is he? Below you. Sasuke heard from below him answering his thoughts while Kakashi's hand shot up from the ground grabbing his ankle. Doden. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu. Earth release. Double suicide decapitation technique. With a yell Sasuke was dragged into the ground up to his head while Kakashi was squatting in front of him looking down upon him. Shinobi fighting lesson number 3 ninjutsu. I'll admit he was pretty good for a genin, but he still has a long way to go. Kakashi thought while he was walking away from Sasuke, but I have a feeling that Naruto still has more to offer. With Naruto. Naruto had been watching the confrontations between his team and his sensei trying to gauge the strengths and skills of both sides. It seems like the fight with me and Sasuke surprised and interested Kakashi, but he still has yet to reveal his Sharingan, but Sasakura. Naruto decided he had gathered enough information and decided to try to get his team to work as one to overcome this test. Now who to start with? On one side we have an arrogant Uchiha who would rather die than work with someone and see them as an equal, and on the other we have a useless fangirl. I wonder if it's too late to try to get different teammates, Naruto thought while sighing at what his team was made up of. It seems that Sakura is waking up now. I guess I should try to get her to team up first before she does something stupid, and also seeing as the Uchiha can't go anywhere, Naruto thought while chuckling to himself about the last part. So with his thoughts gathered Naruto started to head to where Sakura was as she was waking up from unconsciousness. Hey Sakura, Naruto said when he was next to Sakura after waiting for her to get enough coherence to understand him. What do you want Naruto baka? Wait never mind I've got to find Sasuke, she said then completely ignored him to find her crush. Naruto's eyes started to twitch, calm down, you need her to pass this test. He ran and caught up with Sakura who was searching around for Sasuke. Look Sakura I think I know what the point of this test is and how we can all pass. he said, trying to gain her attention only to fail with her ignoring him. The two finally happened upon the sight of Sasuke's seemingly bodiless head, which caused Sakura to scream, again, and faint, again. While that was happening, Naruto had watched on. This may be harder than I thought. So Naruto decided to try his other teammate who was trying to figure out a way to free himself. Hey Sasuke. I think I know a way to pass this test. Quiet Dobi, I don't need your help, Sasuke said while not even looking at him. Naruto ended up gaining a tick mark but tried to calm himself down. Calm down, calm down. Just try again and make him see reason. I'm screwed. So for several minutes Naruto was alternating in either trying to reason with Sasuke or trying to wake up his unconscious teammate. Both failed. Sasuke would not allow himself to work with the Dobi because of his arrogance, while it seemed as the fangirl was out cold. Finally the bell rang signaling the end of the test, making Naruto groan at how his trying to get the team to work as a team failed, and now they all failed. With Kakashi. Kakashi had been watching the whole time as Naruto tried and failed to get his teammates to work together. Sigh. Sorry Naruto. Maybe next time you can get a better team. Hey, that might even be a good thing. See this team. Although the council is going to kill me once the Uchiha fails. Clearing in front of the tree stumps. In the clearing, Sasuke and Sakura were currently tied to a tree stump while Naruto was sitting down with a box of lunch in front of him. Well, about the training, it seems like only Naruto will have to go back to the academy, Kakashi said to the group. Sasuke immediately got a smirk. Hey, it seems like the Dobi is still a dead last, unlike me who is an elite. You two on the other hand, should quit as shinobi, Kakashi said, ending the duo's parade so to speak. What do you mean I should quit being a shinobi? Sasuke said while glaring at Kakashi. Also, why not the Dobi? Because the two of you are just punks that don't deserve to be shinobi, Kakashi said, gaining a reaction from the Uchiha. The reaction was for him to charge out in anger at their sensei, only for him to be stopped with Kakashi now sitting on him with his arm held behind his back and his foot on his head. That's why you're a punk. You are underestimating ninjas. Why do you think you were separated into teams? Kakashi said with a deathly serious look, only to gain a confused look from Sakura while Naruto seemed to understand. The reason only Naruto should continue being a ninja is because he understood the answer and reason to the test, but you two continued to blow him off. For that I am sorry to Naruto that you failed, and I hope you can get a better team next year. Huh, answer, what does that mean, and how did Naruto figure it out? Sakura questioned. She got her answer but not from Kakashi. The answer was teamwork. Naruto is right. The reason for this test was to get all of you to work as a team. Alone it would be impossible for you to pass, but if you worked together you would actually have a chance, Kakashi said, proving Naruto's answer correct. What do you mean by teamwork? There were only 2 bells, Sakura shouted out. Again Naruto was the one to provide the answer. The bells were only a distraction. The bells were never the means to pass. They were only supposed to make us try to work alone instead of as a team. Again Naruto is correct. The test was made to make you fight amongst yourselves. The purpose is to see if you can forget about your own interest and work as a team, Kakashi said, backing up Naruto's answer again. But instead only Naruto was able to do this. Sakura, you would always ignore Naruto and obsess over Sasuke. Sasuke, you would always ignore both of your teammates to work alone. Even though individual power is important, teamwork is even more important. As a team, if even one flaw disrupts the team, then you will end up putting your teammates in danger. I'll give you one more chance after lunch, but this time I will make it even harder than before. Sasuke and Sakura are not allowed any lunch. And Naruto, if you feed them then you will all fail, Kakashi said before walking away. Instead of leaving though, he was watching over the team to see how they would act. Him knowing Naruto, he will most likely try to give his team some food. Now the only problem is whether the other two will accept the food. As Kakashi had deduced, Naruto did indeed try to offer the duo his lunch. Hey guys, since I had breakfast earlier I'm not that hungry. You two should eat so you can regain your strength. They both ended up accepting the food, although not for the reason that they should have. Sasuke only accepted it for his arrogance. That's right Dobi, you should be proud that your food is being used by an Uchiha, while Sakura was only following Sasuke's lead. The moment both of them took a bite of the food though, an explosion of smoke happened right in front of them. After I just told you not to, you do it the minute I walk away, said Kakashi, who charged right at them. You guys all, He started as he continued to charge at them while Sakura was screaming and turned away and Sasuke ended up flinching. All the while Naruto was sitting still while keeping his eyes upon Kakashi. Pass, he finished with an eye smile. Wait, what do you mean pass? Sakura asked in confusion. A ninja must see underneath the underneath. You three are the first who ever passed, and the others would always do what I told them. They were fools. A friend of mine once told me, those who break the rules and codes of the ninja world are trash, but those who abandon their teammates are lower than trash. Naruto closed his eyes and gave a nod of understanding. He must be talking about Obito. That ends the training, you all pass. As of tomorrow Team 7 will begin their ninja duties, Kakashi said while giving a thumbs up. Hey Kakashi, let's go get some ramen to celebrate, Naruto said cheerfully. Sure Naruto, I'll buy. With that the duo walked off leaving the training ground and headed over to Ichiraku's ramen, but they ended up forgetting a certain other duo. Hey Untai US, how dare you leave an elite like me here? Time skip several weeks later. Woods. Team 7 was currently in the woods darting from tree to tree sneaking up upon their target. What's the distance to the target? Kakashi asked into his headpiece. 5 meters, was the response along with all three of them saying in one way or another that they were ready. Go, and with that all of three of them darted towards their target, which was a cat. Sasuke and Sakura first dived at the cat trying to catch it so they could get the mission over with, but instead the moment they picked up the cat it scratched them both across the face several times. Then all of a sudden there was a shadow behind the cat that then lashed out and grabbed the cat. Kakashi then came over to the group to make sure it was the right target and came upon the sight of two of his teammates glaring at the cat that was currently purring in delight while being petted by one Naruto Uzumaki. Ribbon on the left ear. Yup, this is Tora, Kakashi said while inspecting the said ribbon before he lead his team back into the village to report the mission a success. Hokage's tower. Team 7 had just handed over Tora to the fire daimyo's wife. Oh my cute little Tora, I was so worried. Sasuke and Sakura were smirking at how it seemed as if the cat was being smothered to death by the fire daimyo's wife, while Naruto's thoughts were along the lines of, no wonder the cat always runs away. Now Kakashi's Team 7, your next duty is, babysitting an elder's grandson, shopping in the neighboring village, and help with the potato digging, the Hokage said, before all of a sudden Tora was seen charging out of the room while a shout of, Tora, could be heard from the fire daimyo's wife, and catching Tora again. No, an elite like me shouldn't be doing useless crap like this. This should be what the Dobi has to do. Sasuke suddenly shouted, being fed up with all the D-rank missions that had them only doing stuff that it seemed like people were too lazy to do. Yeah, Sasuke's right. Sasuke is way too good for missions like these, which was the follow-up of his loyal fangirl. Sadly, I have to agree with him. Well, not the last part, but missions like these ones are a complete waste of time, were Naruto's thoughts, although he was reluctant about agreeing with the Uchiha in anything even if what he said was true, or partly true in this case. Kakashi was just sighing to himself knowing this would happen sooner or later, although this might be a chance to see what Naruto is truly capable of without holding back. You idiot, you are just a rookie. Everyone starts with simple duties and works their way up, Iruka shouted, while getting Sasuke pissed off. How dare he call me an idiot? The Hokage just sighed to himself before speaking to the genin. It seems I have to explain to you what duties are all about. Hiruzen then started to go on and on about the importance of missions and how they were separated by rank and given to ninjas of certain ranks, although Naruto just tuned him out and was mumbling to himself about what he should have for dinner. Hey Gigi, why don't you just give us C rank? I'm pretty sure me and Kakashi can handle things if things go south. Naruto spoke up once the Hokage was done with his lecture. Everyone turned their gaze towards Naruto, with the Uchiha glaring at Naruto, how dare that Dobi think I would need saving, and by him no less. Hokage-sama, could I speak to you for a second, Kakashi said, getting a nod from the Hokage. Kakashi then walked up to the Hokage and whispered to him so that his genin team couldn't hear him. Hokage-sama, I think we should go with Naruto's idea. He started getting a raised eyebrow in return. Why do you think that, Kakashi? Do you think your team's ready? Yes, but not only that, during the test Naruto proved himself to hold great skills, but it seemed as if he was holding back as if not to reveal how strong he really is. Then there is also him being gone for a year. I would like to use this as a chance to gauge Naruto's skills to see if he may reveal more of it, Kakashi said while getting the Hokage to start thinking about the proposal. I would have to agree with Kakashi. I would also like to see what Naruto's learned over the year. Maybe this will give us a chance to find out what happened. Alright, I've decided, he said loud enough for the genin to hear. I'll give you a C-rank mission. It's a protection mission of a certain individual. With his statement and got the attention of the team, while Naruto decided to ask a certain question. Hey Gigi, who are we protecting? Give it a second, he will be here any moment now, he said before a drunken man walked into the room gaining everyone's attention. What's this? They are all a bunch of brats. One of them even has a blindfold on, he said with a while drinking a bottle of sake. How dare you call an Uchiha a brat? Sasuke said while being backed up by his fangirl. Sasuke's right. Naruto could only sweat drop and shake his head. Don't worry sir, even with this blindfold I am still aware of my surroundings. This caught everyone's attention. Now they thought about it, how could he get around so well while wearing the blindfold? Kakashi decided to ask, Naruto, now that I think about it, how are, as you put it, aware of your surroundings? Oh, I never told you, did I? Hehe. Well, I basically have incredible skills in being a sensor to the point where I can even create an artificial image with chakra of my surroundings, so I basically can see, just not in details. I can still tell people apart though by chakra signatures. He said as if it was something simple, while the people in the room who were Chunin and above were looking at the boy in shock with thoughts along the line of, such skill, what he just said has never even been heard of before except from some of the best censors, but even then to do it 24/7 is just amazing. While the drunk seemed to be a little skeptical, then how many fingers am I holding up, he asked. 2, now 1, now 4, 6, but you quickly changed it to 5, was his answer while he kept holding up a different amount of fingers up. Wow, that's pretty neat, I think I'm gonna like this boy, he said while letting out a cheerful laugh. Oh sorry, haven't introduced myself yet, the name's Tazuna. The Hokage watched the little scene with amusement while he was also a little impressed. In just a few minutes he's already on friendly terms with the client. A client that was looking down upon him too. Well, like I just said, I am Tazuna, a super expert bridge builder, and I need protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge, Tazuna said while turning serious. Just outside Konoha. The group had just made it outside of the gates of Konoha and was now heading along to their destination, but all the while they were being looked upon by two shadows. Any chatting was mainly done between Naruto, Kakashi, and Tazuna, until Sakura decided to ask Kakashi a question with something to do about if there were any ninjas in Wave. Naruto mostly just tuned it out while Kakashi went on about how Wave didn't have any ninjas while other countries did and how their customs were different. Then he went on about the 5 major shinobi villages, and the different cages. But don't worry, you won't encounter any ninjas, this is only a C-rank mission, Kakashi said while ending his lecture, although when he said this Tazuna seemed to be unusually serious, catching Naruto's attention. The group then saw a puddle in front of them, although Kakashi and Naruto were able to figure it out with just a glance that it was a genjutsu, although Naruto had to sweat drop at the caster's stupidity. Who are they trying to fool? It hasn't rained for a while now. Naruto gave Kakashi a questioning glance out of the corner of his eye, only to get a small shake of the head that looked barely even noticeable. From what I can sense there's 2 ninja about Chunin level, although just barely. Hey, the 2 were completely dominated by Sasuke, who may be talented for a genin, is still just that, a genin, while the 2 of them were Chunin. The group then walked past the puddle. And finally, when Kakashi had just passed by the puddle, the 2 Chunin released the genjutsu and charged at Kakashi while wrapping him up with the razor chain connecting the 2. If you read the manga or watch the anime, you know what they look like, so I'm not going to explain them, nor will I explain how anyone from canon looks unless I do something original with them. The people of the group who did not know of the 2 were immediately surprised by their appearance, as Kakashi also acted shocked. 1 down, and with that the 2 yanked on the chain and ended up ripping Kakashi to pieces. The duo then charged towards Naruto while one of them saying, 2 down. Naruto could only shake his head. Idiots, probably thought I was an easy target because of the blindfold. Naruto had to figure out what to do though. He couldn't just immediately take them both down because then they would never find out who their target was. So he decided to just dodge the chain they tried to wrap around him while giving them a clear path towards Tazuna. Now if they are after us, then they will keep after me, but if they are after Tazuna, then this will seem like the perfect chance for them, Naruto thought, while glancing towards Kakashi out of the corner of his eye to see if he was ready to protect their client if he was indeed their target. Just as he suspected, they turned away from him and headed straight towards Tazuna. The old man has some explaining to do. Just before they could reach the bridge builder, though, the duo were caught and knocked out by their Junin sensei, allowing everyone to see that instead of pieces of his body lying around, they saw it was chunks of a log. "Tazuna-san," Kakashi said, getting a stuttering response in return. What is it?" "These two are Chunin-ranked shinobi from Kirigakure." Kakashi then told the group how he had found out about the Chunin lying in wait along with Naruto, gaining a glare from Sasuke at being outdone by the Dobi. He then went on about how he needed to find out who their target was when Tazuna asked why he faked his death. "We haven't heard there were shinobi after you. Our mission was to simply protect you from bandits and gangs. This has now become at least a B-rank mission, now that there are ninjas after you. I'm sure you have reasons, but this could cause problems when you lie about mission details. We are now operating outside of our duties," Kakashi said. "Unknown location. You failed," was the shout of a little man towards a shirtless man with bandages wrapped around his mouth who was currently sitting down. "I spent a lot of money to hire you because I heard you were skilled ninjas." The man he was shouting at, though, lifted up his giant sword and pointed it straight at him, making the short man sweat nervously. "Quit you bitching. This time I'll go and kill them." "Are you sure?" the short man asked. "They hired some shinobi, and now they will be more cautious." "Who do you think I am?" the masked man said while narrowing his eyes. "There's a reason I'm called the Devil of the Hidden Mist, Momochi Zabuza." That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.